What up, everybody? What up, world? On this Wednesday, we got a whole lot to talk about. Appreciate everybody coming in the chat, man. Thumbs up in the chat. Let me get everything worked out over here, man. As you see, when I have my Michael Jackson garbs on, I'm not fucking around. Shout out to everybody in the room, man. Been a lot of music topics going on. I think we left out something in Monday's conversation, because we wanted all the facts. Mad Max came in here and was talking about All Right was ranked the #1 hip-hop song. Yes, Thriller Mike, of course. The #1 hip-hop song of the streaming era. And so I did further research on that. I saw Bodak Yellow was #2. I saw that Bad and Bougie was up there too. Sicko Mode was up there. I think God's Plan was 3. And all of those songs, they outstreamed All Right. So I wasn't quite sure exactly how All Right was able to, I guess, supersede them as that #1 spot. But to me, you talk about March Madness, you talk about, I guess, maybe the content of it all, because they wrote a whole paragraph on it. But it just comes across again that Kendrick is getting favor by journalists and big time media platforms. Because if we're going to be completely honest here, I think that there's a great case, if we're talking about the digital era of hip hop, as big of a star as Cardi B is, we're talking about somebody who has interviewed presidential candidates, vice presidential candidates, and is a global superstar. And Bodak Yellow is that moment that did that. So by every metric, if we're going to go by any metric, right? Hit record, star making power, or whatever that defines a generation, I think records like Bodak Yellow, even Bad and Bougie, March Madness, Sicko Mode, I think that they should get favor over a record like All Right that I wouldn't say has that level of impact. And that's just me. But I do feel like, and we say this even when we're talking about Jay-Z, who we're going to get into in a minute, because The Blueprint, as you guys know, was rated #13 on Apple Music's top 100 albums of all time. We're talking about all genres. We're not just talking about hip-hop. #13. Good Kid, Mad City was actually ranked #7 on this list. But Illmatic was at 39, and All Eyes on Me ended up being at number 62 on this list. We're going to talk about all those things. But saying all that to say, and I say this all the time on this show, a lot of the times, some of these albums and songs get rated so high because of who made them. And it's starting to feel like that's what it is when it comes to Kendrick. Because when we're talking about a record like Bodak Yellow, or even a Bad and Bougie, or March Madness, or Sicko Mode, in the digital era, it's hard for you to even quantify outside of personal opinion how All Right could actually supersede the impact of those records in the digital era. You know what I mean? I don't know. Again, if we're talking about content of it all, that's fine. If we're talking about some people and some organizations choosing to play that in protest moments, that's fine. But let's not sit here and act like All Right is the what's going on, or as they said in their little diatribe, the fight the power of this generation. I mean, it's a dope record. It caught steam later on, and even after that, I think by the time Damn came around, or after some of the protests faded, respectfully, it kind of faded into the back, if we're going to be honest about it. Now, I'm not the Kendrick hater on this podcast, and I don't think anybody is the Kendrick hater. I'm just joking there, but some people were labeling me that on our last episode, and it feels like the fandom that sometimes that these artists generate create such a fandom where you can no longer be critical of anything that they do. If you don't praise everything they do, then they call you a hater of certain said artists. People will ignore all the positive things that you said about an individual and just harp on, oh, he said that he has mixed messaging, or he didn't clarify this and that. And even Ron, the person who isn't really that big of a Kendrick fan, You're the one that gave him creative license on some of the critiques that I made last episode. So we're trying to stay balanced here.
We're trying to stay balanced, but let me clear the record. Let me set the record straight. I'm not a Kendrick hater. I'm just saying
I don't hate nobody.
Nobody's a Kendrick hater. When the music comes out of the speaker, when it comes out of my phone, when it comes out of my car, I just don't like it. And that's just me. We all have different tastes. Some people like their steaks a certain way. I like mine medium rare. Some people like them well done. I don't like going out to the restaurants with people that like their steaks well done. That's just me. I don't like how the music sounds in my car and my headphones. I just don't like it. That's just me. I'm not saying he's not dope. I like Section 80. Let me say it again. I like Section 80. I thought Section 80 is dope. I like Ronald Reagan era. I like Rigor Mortis. I like a lot of records on that album. I like Good Kid, Mad City. I like some records on Damn. I'm just not going to say these are the best records that I've heard of all time. That's just me. Now
you not to interrupt.
You
went to high school with me, right? Who was my favorite rapper in high school?
Your favorite rapper in high school? You were a Lord Infamous fan in high school.
Oh, I wasn't gonna go. I was gonna say Andre. You know Andre.
I'm just saying, but you were.
Yeah, but I was a Lord. I still am a Lord Infamous.
You tried to throw me under the bus last show, audience.
Man, Lord Infamous is dope. Fuck all that. I'll own that.
Mike used to argue with me every day, saying that Lord Infamous from the 3-6 Mafia was better than Jay-Z. Can you believe it? Mike D.
No. Did I really believe that?
Mike D said this. I swear to God.
I was young, but that's how far we go back, and obviously that's ridiculous, right? But my first, I want to say first, my first favorite rapper was Method Man. But when Andre started hitting stride around ATLians, and then Akumanai came, Andre is my guy, man. And I've even argued with your uncle, who is, older than us. He was talking about Kane and this. I've argued with your uncle that Andre was better than Kane. That's how much of a Dre fan I am, and I was in that moment. And even I have been critical of Andre on this podcast or on this channel so much that people have labeled me as an Andre 3000 hater. It just shows you how you just can't be objective when it comes to people's favorite artists. Like even when I'm objective, when it comes to my favorite artist, people turn it on me like I'm a hater of that individual. We're just trying to be balanced here when it comes to the Kendrick stuff. And I think even the Kendrick fan can come to the resolve that Good Kid, Mad City is not the 7th greatest album of all time. I mean, god damn, come on, man. Hey, you know what comes after Good Kid, Mad City on their list?
What?
Wonder Songs in the Key of Life. Like, are we serious?
Man, come on, man. Let's be for real.
Are we serious, man?
Let's keep it a buck, man. I'm getting so tired of this shit, man. I'm so tired. I'm getting so tired.
What it feels like though, Ron? It feels like these spots that Eminem used to hold, since the people have started pushing back on some of these Eminem albums and where they placed all time, seems like Kendrick's getting these spots. Like, I would say maybe a decade ago, that 7th spot would have been Marshall Mathers LP or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I don't even know where Eminem's stuff is on this list, or at least it wasn't highlighted, and we can go through that list, at least certain parts of it. But it seems like those spots that M used to hold and the overrating of his songs and albums that used to be on some of these large publications, they've replaced with Kendrick's efforts. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. Kendrick's had a very dope career, but if anybody thinks that his album should be, well, they put Frank Ocean at 5 with Blonde, which is fucking insane too. They didn't even go Channel Orange. They went Blonde. But if anybody thinks that Good Kid, Mad City is in the conversation with Purple Rain, Songs in the Key of Life, Thriller, and Abbey Road, you're tripping. Like you just like, is Good Kid, Mad City just better than what's going on for Marvin Gaye now too? Is that what we're gonna do?
I mean, let's look at the play, right? Let's look at the play. Apple Music used to be Beats, right? So Beats became Apple Music because Beats used to be a streaming services for like about a year or 6 months. It was even less than that, right?
Right.
And Apple bought Beats. And this is a Jimmy Iovine play, man, to put this thing at the top of this list like this, man. So Ebro, Mike, you sent me the criteria. Let me pull the criteria.
Oh man, yeah. Please pull that up because I was going to read
criteria up. So Mike, tell the people what the criteria was for this list.
This is the criteria that Ebro claims that it is. You see it on your screen, guys. Let me pull it up on my phone because I want to read it so I don't be going. All right. Ebro says that the criteria is voters of the 100 best on Apple Music were challenged to not vote for our favorites, but albums that represent a cultural moment for the artist or genre, albums that were complete thoughts, not just a collection of hit songs. You know, I thought that was a shot at Thriller off top, but we'll get to that. Albums that thoroughly represent culture in production and lyrics. Albums that inspired a generation to want to create more music. Well, you know what? Tell me why Frank Ocean's Blonde is at number 5. But okay, he doesn't even make more. I'll keep going. Albums that represent the best in storytelling, musicianship, recording, and production. Albums that were timeless and reached far beyond the genre categorization. Those are some of the vaguest criteria I think I've ever seen. What does any of this even mean? This is such vague criteria. This is like, this is our list and we say so. Like, this is not anything definitive here. Albums that represent a cultural moment for the artist or genre. Every big album represents a cultural moment for the artist or the genre.
Right. I mean, you can put Lady Gaga in the top 10.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about impact, let's keep it a buck. When Lady Gaga hit, I mean, that was a cultural, quote unquote, not for us, but for some others. That was
she brought the dark culture into popular culture, right? Like all this demonic shit that we see on mainstream, she did that.
All this voguing and all this other, all this, I don't want to get demonetized. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got you. Albums that were complete thoughts, not just a collection of hit songs. See, now that right there becomes something where it becomes more subjective than objective, because you can't deny what a hit record is. You can't deny the performance of an individual quality hit song. And, before people go in there talking about Ice Ice Baby and shit like that, we're talking about quality records that performed well. Okay, we want to say cultural moments for artists in the genre. Let's keep it in a scope. So the people who sat there in that room, y'all truly believe that Good Kid, Mad City at 7 is a bigger cultural moment than The Chronic at 19? Explain that one to me, and we'll keep it in a scope. Good Kid, Mad City in what way? Let's go by this criteria. Let's just look at Good Kid, Mad City and The Chronic. Albums that represent a cultural moment for the artist or genre. Which one do you got between those two? The Chronic or Good Kid, Mad City?
I mean, come on, man.
But see, that's where it becomes problematic when you say artist or genre. Like, The Chronic is more culturally impactful for the genre, but it could be argued that it was more impactful for the artist in Good Kid, Mad City standpoint. But see, and then that's when the albums with complete thoughts and not just a collection of hit songs. Somebody could use that argument to sway more towards Good Kid, Mad City, because someone could argue that The Chronic's not complete thoughts like that, even though it has songs like Little Ghetto Boy and The Day Niggas Took Over and shit like that. And then albums that thoroughly represent culture in production and lyrics. What does that actually mean to represent culture in production?
It's a whole bunch of rap.
This criteria don't make no damn sense.
It's like some of these lyrics, man. It's some rappity rap, hippity hop, mumbo jumbo shit, man. This ain't don't make no damn sense. Because let's keep it a buck. And we gonna have that Rumble battle. We gonna schedule it. You know, the holidays coming up. We just trying to get the schedules right. I'm sorry, man. And I'm just gonna be honest on this pod. Y'all gonna roast me in the comments. I don't give a damn. B is a better album than Good Kid, Mad City, and that's just the truth.
I agree with that.
Truth.
I agree with
It
that.
is honest
and I'm
truth.
picking, and I'm picking Kendrick on this. Well, I'm representing Kendrick on this. I don't know if I'm saying I'm picking because Common has an incredible catalog, but if I'm being objective, just stepping outside of whatever, yeah, B is the better album than Good Kid, Mad City to me. DJ Bruce Almighty says, I don't know if I have Good Kid, Mad City that high, but it's the first hip hop album to chart for over 10 years straight. Someone's listening to it. LOL.
Man.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the charting thing because charting in the streaming era is kind of problematic too. I mean, we all know that there are streaming farms. There's all kind of tools and technology that can help an album to continue to chart. I mean, it just is. This isn't the era where we're able to quantify chart success based on radio play or physical copies, things that are tangible, things that we could look at and see and understand like, yo, this shit is still going. Let's take Thriller, for example. Thriller was on the charts for 2-3 years straight. You could feel that because you know what? When Billie Jean dropped in 83, took that album to the next level, and he did the Motown 25 and what was that, March of 83? Boom, you got that going on. Then Beat It comes along, keeps this album going. And then the Thriller video doesn't drop until 84. I think it's like this, to 84. The album dropped in 82. You could feel that. You could actually go in everyone's home and see a physical copy of Thriller in their album collection. Same thing with Ready to Die. I remember we used to go in our homie's house or whatever, and everybody would have their CD booklet, CD collection. You could see Ready to Die in everybody's collection. You could hear, these songs being played all around throughout different time periods. And when it comes to those stats like Good Kid, Mad City's been on the charts for 10 years, okay, you can technically say that, and that's cool, and I guess it's proven, but you can't really quantify or feel that in a tangible form. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, man, because it was a moment in time, and it's a universal effect that everybody likes it. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, American, European, African, Canadian. It don't matter what country. Thriller was such a global phenomenon. It made, I don't want to take your words that you said, Mike. It made Michael Jackson like a superhero, like a larger than life. He made him the king of pop. So that's what I'm talking about. It's undeniable. The music's undeniable. You got, Baby Be Mine. You got Want to Be Starting Something. You got Thriller. You got Beat It. You got The Girl Is Mine. Billie Jean. Human Nature. PYT. Lady in My Life. I mean, who can argue that? You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to get into my diatribe when we really get into this list because I know we got Amir going to jump on and we're going to talk about this Common and Pete Rock record, and then we'll get Leroy on, he's probably going to defend the fact that the Blueprint is like 20 spots above Illmatic. So I would love to hear what Leroy got to say about that. I'm going to get into my Thriller diatribe, but what I will say, I equivocally, like undeniably, and I was saying this the other day, even before this list was even thought of, Thriller is the greatest album of all time, period. And I don't have any reservations that anything else is over that. It's not. It's the great. And I'll explain why later on in the show, because I could really, really dig deep into that. But I do want to talk about this Common and Pete Rock record, man. Wise Up. It's crazy.
I got, man, you almost made me choke for a second, man. Thriller, I can see why you say Thriller is the greatest album of all time, but actually, Mike, we're going to get into this a little bit later. And I think Leroy is going to help me out here. Purple Rain is better than Thriller, but we're going to get into that.
I love Purple Rain. I think Purple Rain's top 3, but, again, I'll get into why I emphatically feel the way I do about Thriller and the fact that I knew they were gonna shit on it on this list, and some people would be like, "Oh, number 2, whatever, that's cool." No. They botched the 40th anniversary. They don't want history to show that Michael Jackson made the greatest album of all time. You have the music industry and albums, period, before Thriller, and you have the music industry and albums after Thriller. Michael Jackson not only showed with this album that music videos were a viable tool in selling records, but also showed the record labels that music videos were worthy investments. He went out there and paid for this Thriller music video out of his pocket, recouped it with the behind the scenes, and then flipped that and showed that, you know what, we can make the biggest selling album of all time. And now you have a viable commercial that you're showing on music video outlets 24/7 now. He created that. You know what? Not even just him creating that. He created that with the Thriller album. And so I'll get into that further in a second. DJ Bruce Almighty says, I get you. What you're saying about Kendrick is how I feel about Drake. Even you look at all his number ones, they're mid. God's Plan, One Dance, LOL. But see, Drake's stuff is a little different, and people are going to think I'm caping for Drake, and I agree. Hit records, the stuff that Drake makes, the charts and all of that, are a combination of catchiness. And you got to remember, Drake represents a whole nother country on top of that. So he has the support of Canada, and he has the support of the US, Young Money. He has Wayne fans. He has fans from different generations, and not to mention the collaborations that he does. So his numbers are going to be inflated anyway, and he's all over the place. He's active and everything. But with Kendrick, his numbers don't even match up to, the streaming numbers of the records that they had it up against, but somehow they end up propelling it over these records. It's like, what's the metric? But that's just.
And Mike, I'm sorry, I got to go back a little bit. Now you said about Michael Jackson with the video and the budgets and how it changed music video history. That's cool. That's great. I feel you, but they ain't got nothing to do with that music, bro. And Purple Rain.
Well, the music's pretty strong. I mean, when
Purple Rain is a better album, it's then Thriller.
Well, I mean, they're both 9 songs, so I mean, we could go track for track. But when you have an album that starts off with "Wanna Be Starting Something," and you got "Baby Be Mine," and then you go "The Girl Is Mine" to Thriller, to "Beat It," to "Billie Jean," to "Human Nature," to "PYT," "The Lady in My Life." I mean, there's not an album better than that. If you want to talk about quote unquote B-sides, the only B-side on Thriller is "Baby Be Mine." In my personal opinion, is one of my personal favorite Michael Jackson records. There is no B-side. There's one B-side technically on Thriller, and that's "Baby Be Mine." Every record on Thriller has been copied and repeated so many times. If you look at "Wanna Be Starting Something," you got Rihanna's "Don't Stop the Music." You got "The Girl Is Mine." Brandy and Monica made "The Boy Is Mine" off of that influence. Boom. You got Thriller. Like, come on. You're going to hear that every Halloween from here on out. "Beat It." That's been used so many different times. "Billie Jean," the drums from that. "Human Nature." You got It Ain't Hard to Tell. PYT. You got "Good Life." And you got "Lady in My Life." LL Cool J and Boyz II Men, "Hey Lover," and so many other ones. Like, it's been copied, replayed, remixed, and again.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's great. No, but you can't see Purple Rain was so great, you can't even duplicate it. It was so timeless. It was so artistic. You can't create what Prince did, and Prince probably wouldn't clear the sample. So, that's what that was.
I'm gonna say this, and I've heard this from Prince's camp. It's not even something Mike D is making up. Purple Rain was made off of the momentum that Thriller had. Prince went to Warner Brothers like, "Yo, this nigga doing these videos, I need a whole movie." So the competitiveness of Prince.
Man.
No.
That's folklore, man.
His engineer said this herself. She said the competitiveness in Prince I mean, Purple Rain was born on how incredible Thriller was. It just is what it is. And listen, if somebody says from a technical standpoint, artistically, Purple Rain's a better album than Thriller, excuse me, I'm not mad at that because I have Purple Rain top 3, possibly top 5 at most album ever. Where Purple Rain beats Thriller, I think it's in songwriting. You also have to factor in Purple Rain's what, 3 years after Thriller? So, in 3 years, sonically and production-wise, yes, it should sound more advanced than Thriller. It should. But I don't know, man. Michael Jackson was in a zone on Thriller. He was in a zone that he had never been in, and he was in a zone that, my personal opinion, he never got back. But I think it's the highest zone that we got from our greatest artists. And we can say the same thing about Purple Rain. So, I mean, I think it's a conversation. But to me, I just think the power of Thriller is just too much, man. I mean, even this jacket, man, like this comes from the Thriller cloth. The fedora comes from the Thriller cloth. The glove, the socks, the spotlight, the moonwalk. You know what I'm saying? The beat it choreography, like all of these things tell that story. Now I'll tell you this: ain't no way in hell the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill's better than Thriller. And I got that piece of vinyl sitting right in front of me. I love Lauryn.
I see you got the jacket, man. You're gonna make me break out a motorcycle and throw my wife on the back and get it really Purple Rainish, and we're gonna drive to the lake, you know what I'm saying, on the back of my bike and get it really popping. But yo, shout out to Manchester, man. Somebody from Manchester's in the chat. Yo, we're gonna be in England. Me and Mike just talked about it earlier. We're gonna go see the Nas show in either Manchester, Germany, or London. So we're gonna go check out the Illmatic 30. Shout out to my people in Manchester. Mike already said we were trying to find a host for A2HH UK. We're going to get that popping. But yeah, man, it is what it is.
Michael was a much better singer than Prince, too. I mean, like I said, the songwriting from a lyrical standpoint, I can give that edge to Purple Rain. And again, Prince is just a better songwriter than Michael. I definitely.
He's a better musician than Michael. He's a better songwriter than Michael.
He's a better musician than Michael.
He is a better musician than Michael.
No, I said, of course he is.
Oh, yeah.
Is he a better producer than Quincy Jones? Is the question.
Possibly so, yes.
Because if we're talking about the album, I don't know. You think that Prince is a better producer than Quincy Jones? That's interesting.
Arguably, yes. I mean, Prince is
that I disagree with. Vehemently.
I mean, he's one of the greatest musicians of all time that produced all his records. Yes,
he's a better musician than Quincy Jones, but he's not a better producer than Quincy Jones. He's not.
Well,
we'll get back to that in a second. Let's talk about, speaking of producers, Pete Rock and Common linked up again, man. We're looking forward to this album. Shout out to Pete Rock. Shout out to Common too for doing this. Wise Up is crazy. Wise Up is crazy. What were your thoughts when you heard this record?
When I heard Wise Up, I was like, yo, it's 2 for 2. I mean, Trying was the first one. And then Wise Up came in the video. Shout out to the director. I took the director's name down. It was gritty, it was artistic, and it was just dope. I mean, even Common spitting on it. I don't got the lyrics pulled up, but he was like, he had 3 wise men, one gave him Hennessy, one came from jail. I mean, it's Common. He sounds the same as he did like 20 years ago. There's no, you know, sound struggling. He's in his pocket. Pete got down on the beat. The video was dope. And then what was interesting at the end of it, because I didn't even know this, you know, because we've been talking to Pete and Amir for a minute. It said the Auditorium Volume 1. So this tells me this is the first of many albums. And when you juxtapose it with the fanfare that the Nas and Primo joint got, I'm not trying to pit musicians against one another, but, you know, because shout out to Primo, we're going to get an interview with him soon. But it's just a better record, and it just sounds natural. It sounds like 2 people got into the studio, vibed out, and made something happening. And it's like 2 for 2. Trying was the first shot, and then it was Wise Up. And let me play what Common said though, Because Common tried to tell us that this was going to happen.
Go with like water for chocolate. I'm gonna say B. And y'all gonna think I'm just talking, but this new P Rock joint, I'm gonna see y'all when I come back, whenever I'm back, and y'all can tell me if I'm bullshitting or not. But I think it's in my top. I've had a couple people come to me and say, "Yo, this is one of your best albums," so I'm excited about it. But for the time being, I'm putting that up there. The P Rock joint. Resurrection. I'm gonna go.
Shout out to Damaris, man, with the super chat, man. Damaris is my guy, man. Chicago. You know, I went to college with Damaris, and I was coming out of Atlanta. He was coming out of Chicago. My favorite rapper was Andre. His was Common. We used to have these debates, but Damaris said something to me a few weeks back when I played, when I sent him over the first Pete Rock and Common song that they put together. He said that Common absorbs the energy of the people that he's around. And I think that makes Common an incredible artist to be able to do that, because he's absorbing what's going on with Pete Rock, and we're hearing the product of it. Like you said, they're 2 for 2. To me, I don't care what anybody says, man. Right now, this is hip hop's most anticipated album for me, just based on what I'm hearing. It reminds me of how I felt when I heard The Corner and how I anticipated what was coming, because there were a few records before The Corner. Obviously, Common's feature on The College Dropout kind of got a buzz going. And the song, what was the song? You Want to Ride or whatever, Like the Ride. But anyway, Common was spitting on there. The Corner? Oh, I heard something. Okay. When I heard The Corner, I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready for this album. And to a certain extent, and I'm not trying to hype this up too much, what I'm hearing on Wise Up, to me, it's official, man. Like, they're 2 for 2. And I'm talking about 2 for 2 in a big way. I want to hear the rest of this album. And, you know, we kind of got a little bit of insight or an inside a couple of months back when we interviewed Pete Rock. And shout out to Mickey Fax. But he was telling us how things were coming along in the studio. And he was like, oh, yeah, we got some dope stuff cooking. And from what I'm hearing right now, neither one of these guys was bullshitting. And we heard what Common had to say about it. And we heard on our end what Pete had to say about it. I heard they're about to be on Drink Champs, too. So that sounds like to me that this album is coming very soon. And I think this is going to be an album to definitely pay attention to.
It is. And speaking of which, we got Amir. We got Pete Rock's guy, Amir, one of the dope artists.
Oh, Amir's in the building.
He's in the building. What's up, Amir? What's good, Bree?
Peace. How you, brothers?
Oh, good, man. How you doing, man? Appreciate you joining us.
Oh, love, man. You already know it's all love, man.
Well, I mean, we're just now hearing Wise Up from Common and Pete Rock. Yeah. I'm sure you've been hearing a lot more stuff than we've been hearing, man. Like, what have them sessions been like? And like, you know, what can we expect to hear from that project?
Well, I can't say, but I can say what I heard. You know, I'll say this, man, that I was there for it. My first time listening to that album in its entirety was at the Mastering session. You know, everybody was there, from Jamie, there's Pete, Mark Kutch, and a few, and you know, Chris Atlas, and you know his Common's team, and some of the guys from True Soul, and what I'm gonna say this, because I told this nigga Common the same thing. My man stared at me with the shades on, like, nigga, get it right. Listen, nah, I think, and I'm choosing my words carefully, because
of course, I ain't trying to put you.
No, and it's not that I'm on the spot. I'm just wanting. I'm really searching for a word to describe kind of what I heard, right? But to simplify it, what I told Common, I told Common, I looked at the nigga, I said, my nigga, You ain't take no days off of work. I can tell you that. So each verse he showed up, and I look at it verse by verse, bar by bar. It was no days off. He didn't take a day off of work. Pete definitely did not take a day off of work in the production. It wasn't a Pete that I heard before. I looked at the nigga like, nigga, why ain't get some of these beats? You fuck this up, man. So
holding out on you, bro. He was holding out.
You trying to hold you. Yeah, so, but it was one of those moments where, you know, even in jest, you know, I was happy. I was excited for them, you know.
Yeah.
And to be able to be, you know, to make, you know, a contribution to the project. And being allowed to be on something between two juggernauts like that is I mean, whether your input is, you know, having any input on it, you know what I'm saying? Because when I listen to it in its entirety, you know, and learning, you know, there's a difference I think between Common and Rashid, you know what I'm saying? So seeing him and, you know, having an opportunity to see him and Rashid when we talking about life, and then, you know, seeing him in Common mode when he's doing interviews with Pete and Pete Rock mode, you know what I'm saying, versus Peter. So I think them as men, they've grown so much as black men, and being able to still express themselves creatively. I think we're getting like a more than just a treat, man. This is I think it's a special moment for hip hop to see guys at this stage, and to be like these type of statesmen in the culture to still come to the table and cook up something, some high. I called it earlier, you know, a high elevation music. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had an interview the other day, and a guy mentioned to me, you know, he kind of pivoted to the Common and Pete thing, and I was like, look, bro, I really, you know, we families, we go back, so you know, I was just saying to you, I was like, look, and it's not, but, and about the word conscious when we surround guys like Common or you know, Mos or Yasin, or even myself being put into what Joel Ortiz called me. He said, "You part of the conscious boys," and I started laughing like, "What is this? The Proud Boys? We got fucking gangs and shit." And he said, "Nah." He said, "But you," he said, "Yeah, I'm with the conscious boys set." He said, "Yeah, you kind of with them, but you on the other side. You kind of like, you know, you can switch sides." I said, "Listen," we joked about it, and then he gave me like this great, like, almost a gifted analysis of why he said that. He said, because you don't put yourself in those groups, people put you there. When you get called the lyricist or you get called, you know, any those type of labels. But then, you know, when I did the interview, I said, know what? To be honest, everybody's conscious when they make art. Rock and roll, you're conscious of what you're saying. That means you're conscious, right? So if you make rock, art, jazz, rock and roll, if you're conscious of what you're saying through that microphone, then you're a conscious artist.
And with that being said, man, you're a very dope MC yourself. And
Thank
obviously,
you.
know, some of the other MCs who we know they're, you know what I'm saying, they have those legacies, like you said, these juggernauts, they rock with you to that point where they elevate you and the work that you're doing. Can you let some of the people know what you got going on? Because last time we talked, man, you had like, I mean, that was like last week. You were telling me all about all the stuff you had going on.
Yeah, so right now, man, you know, with True Soul, with Pete, the focus is the album with him in Common, the Auditorium Volume 1. Then for me would be the album I got with Pete called Dope Boy Soul, which I'm very, you know,
that's just gonna be crazy.
I'm just saying this, like, you know, I get to soak up the game and watch players. It's like being the Anthony Edwards, right? And you get to watch Jordan play, and now you get to say, you know what? This is my opportunity. This is my moment to not really show and prove to the people, but just really show myself that I was who I thought I was when it came to like making great music and making things that because my aim is always to make something timeless, not to be hot or cold, but it's just my personal goal is to make a timeless piece of music. And I think what Pete did with me with Dope Boy Soul, like what he did with Common on the Auditorium, I mean, like I could speak for my joint, but I'm gonna come back to what I thought about the album. The album is definitely crazy. The Auditorium is definitely crazy. I have a few favorites on there. Wise Up is definitely fire. But there were other records on there that I personally thought, you know, they had a little round tip. What you think would be a single? And I named the ones I thought. I still think the one I picked, y'all are gonna love. People are gonna love it.
Mm.
But yeah. So, but like I said, to be able to just soak up the game and see the way people reacted to them, so to see it from its inception to its release and seeing the way the people react to the music, I think it's inspirational. It's definitely inspiring. It's motivational.
Mhm.
And anytime somebody, you know, you get a chance to sit down with guys like yourself and share, you know, you two gentlemen, and even people want to have you know, I think a real, not mature, I mean mature, but just I think an elevated conversation about a greater conversation about, you know, what's in store for the, but to revert back to myself, I think I got Dope Boy Soul, and then I've been cooking up, I mean, Arsonist from the Heatmakers. I did a project with him called No Soul Left Behind.
Yeah, heat makers. You know what? Our audience loves heat makers too.
Word. So and the album with Pete is done. The album with the Heatmakers is done, and you
So
know,
so when is it dropping, man? What's up, my guy, man? When's Dope Boy Soul coming out? When are you gonna hit the people with it? When are you gonna come to LA, do that South run and introduce the music to the people?
right. So I think y'all gonna see a lot. You know, the plan. You know, y'all be seeing more of me. You know, tagging along with him and Khan, and we'll be introducing. We're gonna roll out a record soon, a teaser from Dope Boy Soul. But you know, like I said, the first things first, priority for the team over here to make sure we vertically stand up their project and give it. You know, they get the. I'm gonna still be working, right? But I'm to answer your question, yeah, it's a record off of that project that's been picked already.
I'm excited about it, man. That's
And
crazy.
I'll tell you the name. The name is called Hot Winters, Cold Summers.
Hot Winters, Cold Summers.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
Oh man,
So
it's gonna be fire, man.
so I think it should be fun. I'm just ready to have some fun, man, and learn and be present. You know,
Quick
that's what
question though, and I mean, and I didn't look into this. Is this album? Is it independent? Is
nah.
this okay?
Mm-mm.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure. So,
No.
I mean, but nah, the Wise Up video looks crazy. I love the
Yeah,
whole movement.
you got. I see my little 3 seconds in that joint.
Yeah, I thought you was gonna at least have about a minute. You had like 3 seconds in that
Hell, I
joint.
had a whole 3 seconds, man.
But you maximize
Editing, man.
You said you maximize. Look, long as you maximize every second, you did your job.
I was like,
Right.
I see. I was waiting.
I seen you in there. I seen the blipper. You in there, man. You got the 3 seconds to be thankful.
Now you mentioned Anthony Edwards, man, and you know I would be remiss if I didn't bring up that Game 7 in New York, man. I was rooting for y'all. I really was. You see, I got the Hawks hat on or whatever. I'm a Hawks fan, so we ain't nowhere near where the Knicks were this year, so I can't talk no shit. But what are your thoughts on, you know what I'm saying, this run that the Knicks had, and you know, just moving forward, what the potential of this New York Knicks team is?
I think, excuse me, I think the New York Knicks currently, man, have a great hard nose, they're like a blue collar team right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't have the best, um, they don't have 5 or 3 NBA All Stars on their team currently, like super mega stars. They don't, you know what I'm saying? But however, they're a better team than a lot of people. They're a better team. They're not a lot of better. They're not better as individuals, but as a collective, they found a way to play together well, which I think is something that should be celebrated, right? To really see an NBA team, not
Yeah.
NBA individuals play. You know, I mean, they were played. You know, they went down swinging. You know, with injuries. And to see Jalen Brunson, you know, snap his wrist on a swatting at the ball like that, I had a lot of other questions like, yo, what is your, you know, how does your calcium, why does your bones as an NBA player, you know, what are you eating to? No, I'm not trying. Oh, you get what I'm saying? Like at that level,
Yeah.
I would wonder who's your nutritionist because
Right.
you shouldn't be. It looked. You see how that looked? It's like a swat, and it was a fracture. So,
Yeah.
So you know, and for somebody like a LeBron who says he spends $1 million+ on his body per year, he's never played with injuries. You see, from eating to the way he exercises to, you know, full body workouts and working out muscles that, you know, I guess more embedded muscles or etc. But I think the Knicks probably should focus on a better health regimen when it comes to eating and exercising, outside of the take a more rugged or rigid approach to eating the proper nutrients to cause your body to perform at a maximum level on that type of stage, and you're making the money to do it. So I would
He got the big apple on his back. I mean,
right.
that's a big responsibility, man. My Mere Thoughts has a super chat. I think he just heard Wise Up. He said, just heard Common and Pete Rock's new song, Wise Up. This track is going to make DJ Premier trash the entire production for the Nas new album and start over. LOL.
I'm not getting none of that shit. But I will say
That's
this.
the people talking, but hey, man,
I'll say this.
Strong.
I think there's enough room in hip hop for everybody. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
I do believe, in a perfect world, it'll be fire to see everybody go on tour together.
I agree.
Imagine what the fans would get if you have Premier and Nas and Common and Pete on the tour.
A world tour. A world tour, going to London.
That would be crazy.
Africa, South America.
I'm putting it out there because I might fuck around. I'm gonna end up going. I'm gonna
you open up for them. You know what I'm saying?
Or even pull me out. On
call us up and we'll tag along with you, man.
Because and that's a great thing because a lot of people talk about are you gonna open up when they go on the road, or I think at this stage I may. And God willing, I probably will want to, come, get introduced out as opposed to getting doing an open up. Because I think this is a psychology to when artists open up for artists. That means it's like you don't know the artist, but you just open up, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
But when they doing their set and they share their stage with you, it's a lot more personable, impactful, and it looks more cohesive as a unit. But either way, no matter how it comes to me, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna perform and do my best, man, and to provide the vibes and all that. Because if you one thing I never try to miss, man, is my divine appointments. So should be cool. To your point, I like what you said. A world tour with that. Us three were the first people to say it. That would be crazy to see. That think about seeing that, like Nas, Premier, Pete, and Calm.
That'd be crazy.
And documenting it like the Watch the Throne joint. You know what I mean? How they was
that's like for real. That's like hip hop heads back Watch the Throne.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't happen 2024, but if in 2025 that was to happen, that would be crazy.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction here, man. From what I'm hearing right now, I don't know, man. This could be album of the year. From what I'm hearing right now, and from some of the stuff you're telling me, and of course, I got to hear.
I heard this shit, man.
Got to hear your album too, because the way you speaking on your album, you're keeping a lot of things on the tuck. But I've heard 2 of these joints. It's gonna be a strong one this summer.
Right.
So yeah, this is gonna be in the conversation very heavy, and I think this is one that they're building up some anticipation about correctly. And the rollout, it's been impressive. I know I was kind of critical of Pusha T's rollout when he did It's Almost Dry. I felt like it was too many spots in between those records that were coming out, and I didn't feel like those records were strong enough. And I felt like the buzz was gonna die, but they're doing this just right, where it feels like a old school album rollout. Right. You know what I mean? Like each song makes you anticipate the album more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And the album is slated for July.
Okay, July. Yeah, we're right around the corner. So I guess another song is gonna come before then, I would imagine.
I ain't sure, but the way that I think the way that Wise Up is building, I think I don't know what the strategy would be next, but either way, I know they have everything. You got Chris Atlas quarterbacking, man. He's one of those people that he been doing it for a minute, so you trust in Chris and what he's done. So.
Well, before we get out of here, man, like, is there anything you want to leave the people with?
Yeah, man. Look, man. I tell everybody, look, man. We here one time, and we all share this human experience together. So I want to thank y'all brothers for taking the time today, man, and making me part of your human experience in this moment. We shared this moment in the time talking about something great, and it was a positive and impactful conversation, man, to my person, because we just came from doing some interviews today overhead at Shade 45. So
Okay, well, when you drop anything, just you know what I'm saying, hit me on the line. We're gonna jump on, we're gonna talk about it.
Absolutely.
How we do.
Absolutely, man. I have True Soul, I mean, it's a little bit of pressure on me, but I don't feel pressured in because now it was worse. It was bad being, the CL and Pete thing when he signed me. But now, I have the Common and Pete gun on my back. In a good way, in a positive way, yeah. But it's kind of like but they embrace me and Common embraced me. Like, he's a nigga, you called you that night. So I don't think those guys are not going to stand it next to anyone who they feel like they wasn't of that pedigree. So it's always positive reinforcements, being able to work around them and with them and move forward, man, and soak up the game. Because that's really what I do the most is soak up game from these guys, man.
And that's a beautiful thing, man. Like that experience, it can't be duplicated. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you bring to us, because everything that you sent to me, fire. Like,
thank you, man. Thank you.
No, for sure. Thank you.
No doubt. We're going to do it big when you come down south to ATL, bro.
Listen, man. Y'all ain't got no hot chicken out there, but we're going to find something good to eat, man.
We're going to find something for you, bro.
We can find something, man. Atlanta's gotten watered down in many respects when it comes to, not having, you got to go to different spots. You got to go to specific spots because we got a lot of tourist spots, but we can hook you up. We got you.
Look, man, thank y'all brothers for having me. And if I got anything, I'm definitely gonna send it y'all way, man. Y'all brothers, be, guidance and safety, man. Wherever y'all go, you hear me?
No doubt, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I'm gonna hit you in a few, brother.
All right,
yeah. Mad Max says, "Good Kid, Mad City, not even the top 5 West Coast album." Woo! Well, we can start that. Well, I will say this: Good Kid, Mad City is not better than Death Certificate to me. It's not better than The Chronic. It's not better than Doggy Style.
I'm here.
It could be argued that it's better. Hey, Leroy, what's good? Leroy.
It's not better than 2001. It's not better than The Chronic. It's not better.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned 2001. Yes, Good Kid, Mad City is not better than 2001.
It's not better than. It's not better. Let me finish. It's not better than the documentary. It's not. It's not. It's
that's
not
5 right there.
It's really, to me, I'm they're gonna excoriate me in the comments. Excoriate. Look,
I'm gonna excoriate you.
Excoriate me in the comments. Man, man. Say born to rap. I mean, I'm gonna stop. And I'm gonna stop.
More America's Most. There we go. I mean, just off top though, you Compton ones, right? We got The Chronic. I would think most people would say Straight Outta Compton's better than Good Kid, Mad City. Because you know what Straight Outta Compton has? It has that Wu-Tang 36 Chambers effect where it has those records on it like Gangsta Gangsta, Straight Outta Compton, Express Yourself, Fuck the Police. Like, those are tough records to fuck with. Like, it's just, I mean, where did they put Straight Outta Compton on this list?
I didn't even see the list, man. I got to see this list, man.
Okay, yeah. We're going to get to the list. And Doggy Style, man, and I always talk about this on the show, man. In this Interscope machine, or, I would say this, in these lists that seem very Interscope represented, Snoop Doggy Dogg always gets shitted on, I feel like. Like, it's crazy. Like, he is, if the New England Patriots are death row or vice versa, Snoop is Tom Brady, man. He is. He really is. And for whatever reason, he seems to get overlooked by everybody else, or everybody else gets precedence over him, from Eminem to Kendrick, and, even Tupac to a certain degree, over Snoop. And we kind of forget how big of a piece Snoop is. Like, 2001 doesn't happen without Snoop being there in that way. The Chronic doesn't happen without Snoop being there in that way. Well, and obviously Doggy Style doesn't happen.
I think picking Snoop is like picking Dr. Dre. It's like people expect that, so they try to go with something you don't expect. But you know, I got to push back on Kendrick, and I'm not even a huge Kendrick. I wasn't even a huge Kendrick guy, but I got to push back, man, because
clearly everybody has Kendrick over Snoop, and I think that's problematic. I get it from a lyrical miracle standpoint. That's about it.
I don't even get that. Like, but I mean, you know,
right. Snoop's nice.
I'll just say this about Good Kid, Mad City. Right, when I don't care whether your album is cohesive or not. I do not think you need cohesion to be dope. So that was my train of thought back in the day, and still my train of thought now. I think you could have different sounds and still make dope albums. But back then, people were like, well, the album dope album has to be conceptual. It has to be cohesive. It has to be lyrical. It has to be all these different things, right? And we hadn't seen a Death Certificate or Doggy Style or All Eyes on Me or nothing like that for, you know, almost 20 years. So when the album came out, I said the album was cool. I didn't go crazy. But when I said the album was cool, everybody jumped on me online, went crazy on me. But I think what we're hearing was, a lot of their argument was, well, this album is a story. It tells a generational story. It's cohesive and it's conceptual. That was the pushback on what I was saying back then.
Well, all right. And I'm not saying, and I know the Kendrick fans are going to be like, Mike's a hater or whatever. But what story did Good Kid, Mad City tell that we haven't heard in hip hop before?
I tried that argument. I said that.
I'm just asking. Like,
I tried.
They act like this thing broke the mold, and maybe because it was something that we haven't heard in a long time. Because I remember when Good Kid, Mad City dropped, the comparisons were Illmatic, right? It was basically talking about a young man who saw all the craziness around him, but wasn't really actively a part of that craziness. He was just a gifted individual who was able to articulate some of the things that the people around him weren't, right? That's what I got from how they rolled out Good Kid, Mad City. And I think, to me, Good Kid, Mad City is Kendrick's most palatable album to a mass audience. I think that Section 80 is dope, but it speaks to his core. I think that To Pimp a Butterfly, in my personal opinion, is his best album, but it speaks to a certain segment who follow what he does. I think Damn is probably another one of those palatable efforts, but it didn't have the legs that Good Kid, Mad City did. It seemed like Good Kid, Mad City was his industry album, in my opinion. And that's not a bad thing, and that's not a knock on Good Kid, Mad City, but I think in history it's just going to be held, and it has been held higher than the other ones because of that. And it does have the poetic justice moments. It does have, in my personal opinion, his best single, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, and it has Backseat Freestyle, and it has Mad City, and it has, Dying of Thirst. So it has those ranging moments and notable moments in ways that his other albums don't. But saying all that to say, I think because of who it is, they elevate that album on its all-time, rating.
Yeah, but how could you not? How could you not?
Kid, Mad City are close, are too close to debate.
I mean, we're not. I mean, these lists are just not honest, guys, and they're bought and paid for. It's like it's like payola on the radio stations, man. Somebody's dropping off a bag. This is all.
Oh man, conspiracies.
I think Kendrick earned this one. I think Kendrick may have earned this one, man.
Whoa. I'm gonna put an album on the screen, guys. And let's be for real.
Earned it.
For real. It's Good Kid, Mad City.
Not even in that conversation.
Kendrick's not even from the era. Kendrick's not even from the era, man.
I mean,
era don't matter. It doesn't. No.
Era. Is this the number 7? According to Apple Music, Good Kid, Mad City is the number 7 album of all time. Is this better than this? Let's be for real. Let me just be honest.
That's not even a conversation. It's not.
I'm gonna have some hard conversations for y'all, man. I'm
Let's
sorry.
have
Even
some hard conversations.
when it comes to Illmatic, we gonna have some hard conversations, man.
So is Good Kid, Mad City better than The Blueprint to you then?
No.
Oh, okay.
Kendrick is not from my era. I was already grown, already doing grown man shit when Kendrick came out. We're not from the same era.
Prince is not from my era. That matters. Prince is not from my era, but Purple Rain is still dope. It ain't gotta be from my era.
The people from my era, they thought that Good Kid, Mad City was cool. They was like, it's cool because they've heard Ice Cube, they've heard Pac, they've heard Raekwon. But from the younger generation, they was like, nah, this is the one. Because they wasn't quite educated on Ice Cube like that. They wasn't quite educated on Pac like that, or was it? So for them,
to push back on that, when the OGs from the 80s heard Illmatic, none of them were saying, yo, this album, man, that's cool. No, they were like, yo, this album's great. It is what it is. Great music shines through.
I may have some Illmatic, man.
I remember hearing Janelle Monáe's Arc-Android, and I was grown when that album came out. And I was thoroughly impressed with the musicianship, the range, her vocal performance, the way this album was put together. At no point in my mind was I like, well, I was thinking about 90s records. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't. And the same thing with To Pimp a Butterfly. When I heard To Pimp a Butterfly for the first time, and we'll stay on Kendrick on that, I was impressed, period. It wasn't even about comparing it to different eras or how old I was at the moment. Like a great album is a great album. Illmatic says, as a Dot fan, I'm not okay with Dot being number 7. But if you put Dot at 7, you should put Damn. It should be Damn, excuse me. Damn is still his most successful replayed album.
Damn ain't messing with Good Kid, Mad City. It's not close.
You know, Illmatic, I hate to admit, if you look at my Spotify playlist or my Apple Music playlist, and you did like a report of what I played the most, I go back to Damn more than any other. Well, Section 80 first, but I go to Damn more than Good Kid, Mad City. Easy.
It's an easier listen. Damn is a way easier listen. You could put it on as background music, and I'm not clowning it by calling it background music. What I'm saying is you could put it on and just let it go. It's easy. Good Kid, Mad City is not that easy. It goes through different stuff.
Well, you know what Kendrick did with Damn, and I know
everybody right now, go play Illmatic for your kids. When it's over, turn it off and ask them what their opinion is, and then see if their opinion was the same as your opinion when you were a teenager.
Huh. Well, all right. I was 12 when Illmatic came out. And so they weren't playing anything from Illmatic on the radio here in Atlanta like that. I only got like One Love and It Ain't Hard to Tell from like watching MTV and BET and stuff like that. So I didn't really get my hands on Illmatic until maybe around like 96, 97, really. And whenever I did get my hands on Illmatic, the times had changed. Like we weren't in that gritty early 90s, mid 90s type of vibe in hip hop, but I still took it in and was like, yo, this is incredible. And it actually became better and better with time because it had those timeless themes. It had that subject matter that you could just grow with. And to think that it was an 18, 19-year-old that was doing this. And I would challenge you to say that I think that the youth, if they are mature enough to take in that messaging, they would feel the same way about Illmatic that we did when we first heard it, you know? But again, you have to be at a certain maturity level because I know Ron was saying early on in the show that I was arguing him down in high school. I had to be like in 10th grade at the time that Lord Infamous was better than Jay-Z. And maybe I was trolling him a little bit. But again, Jay was rapping over my head during Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1. So I didn't totally get it yet. But I think if you get somebody who's at the maturity level to take in that level of lyricism, they can get Illmatic off the bat. I think it's probably the most lyrical, easy listening hip hop album ever.
Well, yeah, if you're a lyrical head, I think Illmatic will grab your attention. If you're not,
it takes you to be a lyrical head. I think it's so easy listening as a lyricist that you can. It's palatable, you know.
Go play it for some kids that's not lyrical heads and see what they say.
Well, yeah, I mean,
How about music?
anything for kids.
I mean, Illmatic, like the production just strikes me like Life's
Yeah.
a Key.
We're gonna talk about it.
Ain't represent. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about it with Blueprint. We're gonna talk about
If you just had an album full of instrumentals of Illmatic and with no lyrics on it at all, it just sounds better than any of the instrumentals to me on Good Kid, Mad City. It's just the truth.
Well, I mean, when Elzhi remade Illmatic with Illmatic, and he brought in that live band to replay those records, it just showed you how great the production and timeless the production was on that album. Now, I want to ask you, Leroy, how do you feel about Apple Music's list of having Illmatic at number 39 in their top 100 albums and the Blueprint at number 13? That's been the big discussion online.
Man, I'm asked about Jay-Z's music all the time, and I'll accept any challenge. So when I say that, I'm really standing on that. Now, it's the same type of thing as like, if you play Illmatic for kids in 2012 and say, is this sonically, not lyrically, is this sonically better than Good Kid's Mad City? For the kid who's 15 in 2012 or 13, he may say no. And I think for the kid who's a teenager in 2001, he may say that Kanye and Just Blaze have better beats than Illmatic because he's not a kid of the 90s. He's a kid of the early 2000s. So sonics do change, y'all. And I do think Blueprint has an argument. If you want to take the 9 songs of Illmatic and you want to put them up against Rulers Back, Takeover, Girls, 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 You Don't Know, Heart of the City, Never Change, Song Cry, All I Need, Mama Loves Me, Lyrical Exercise, I don't think Illmatic's pushing Jay-Z out the way. I think no.
I think there's one song on Illmatic that I think Rulers Back is the only song on Illmatic that the Rulers Back is better than is One Time for Your Mind. Okay, let's get that out the way.
Rulers Back is superhero music.
Rulers Back is not better than New York State of Mind. It's not better than Life's a Bitch. It's not. It's not better than The World Is Yours. It's not better than
Takeover's not better than Life's a Bitch?
Huh?
Takeover's not better than Life's a Bitch?
No, it's not. And you know how highly I think of Takeover. It's not. Okay. Takeover's not better than Life's a Bitch.
You don't know it's not better than Life's a Bitch?
You don't know.
Favorite record.
And you don't know, in my opinion, is a top 3 Jay-Z song. So
Girls isn't one of the most gorgeous samples we have ever heard in rap. Heart of the
Girls is better than anything on Illmatic outside of One Time for Your Mind.
Not anything, because I haven't gone.
I'm asking you, like, what song on Illmatic is Girls better than? Let's discuss that.
Okay, so
what's better than?
I think sonically, Girls.
No. We're not gonna pull the beats out. We're talking about the songs. Like, it's Girls better than New York State of Mind.
I don't think Jay is threatened lyrically by Nas. So if you want to go lyrically, we can go there. You know what I mean?
Not on the Blueprint. No. Now, if you want to talk about lyrically on Reasonable Doubt,
no problem with Nas. Song Cry Jay got no problem going there.
I mean, we got some Jay-Z Nas warfare going on right now, but I think the larger point is Good Kid, Mad City being higher than Illmatic. I think that's more egregious.
Listen, we've already covered this, Ron. That Kendrick being put on these lists, he's being put on these lists in place of Eminem at this point. When you have him at number 7 over, it's true. When you have him, when you have Good Kid, Mad City over The Chronic, over Doggy Style, over Only Built for Cuban Links, over Illmatic, over the Blueprint, over Alice, we already know that's fraudulent. And then on the Spotify list, when you have All Right over songs like Bodak Yellow, over songs like Bad and Bougie, March Madness, like, what's the metric? You know what I mean? Like,
is it possible
over this stuff? You know, he's getting overrated. Let's just call it.
Is it possible that we have moved on past the 90s? Is it possible that we have moved on past the sound of the 90s?
No, that's fine. Well, how do you explain All Right being number one over Bodak Yellow, over March Madness, over Sycamore, over Bad and Bougie? These records performed way better than All Right.
Oh, and people, if you want to meet Styles P, he's over at Pendulum right now. Last month it was Freeway. If y'all ever want to meet your rappers, go over there at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays and meet your rappers. We'll have a new guy. They'll have a new guy next week. Okay.
And Super Duper's going to respond to you, Leroy. Super Duper's in the building. Shout out to Super Duper. What's up, brother?
I don't even want to talk Jay-Z with Leroy. You know he can't keep this. You can't keep it real. You're not going to be objective. He just like the Kendrick Lamar fans. When you be objective and you talk about the music, everybody know good and goddamn well. And listen, Leroy said one of the last episodes that he started off as a Nas guy, right? Remember when he said that? He said he started off as a Nas guy, but now he's trying to compare the Blueprint to Illmatic, and that's like comparing candy to vegetables or something like that. Like we're not doing that, man. I'm not even gonna argue with this dude about this. It's ignorant right now.
You know how many times
I told you last week or the week before, we don't want to hear you say Jigga no more. So you can't keep it real. You just can't keep it real.
I've heard Jay-Z get compared to Nas like a million times. So
but we talking about Illmatic in the Blueprint, man. Illmatic in the Blueprint. And you sitting up here like
beats and rhymes. Jay-Z can't do beats and rhymes.
Time out, guys. Time out. And Leroy. When I asked you the question about these albums, you know what you said? You said, I'm willing to defend Jay-Z. It's not about Jay-Z. We're talking about the album. See, that's the big problem with these lists, Leroy. They're not judging the albums. These albums are being placed based on who made them. Take who made them out of it. We're talking about the albums. I want you to
I think Jay-Z
album and not Jay-Z or Nas or whatever should be this many spots, if any spots, over this other album. And why?
Is there anybody here that doesn't think Jay is a great rapper?
Oh, that's not the point, man. We're not gonna go down this loophole with you doing this. We're not gonna do this, man. We talking about Illmatic and Blueprint. So Leroy, just let everybody in the chat hear you say it. So you really think that the Blueprint is better than Illmatic? The Blueprint is better than Illmatic?
Brother, I will not be surprised if someone in 20.
We're talking about you. I'm saying you specifically.
Bruh. So what are we talking? So is this just about my personal opinion? Or is it
you sitting here that you defending this right now? So I mean, it's got to be you go hard for a lot of stuff. You go hard for a lot of stuff that you don't mean, or you just arguing to argue. Is the Blueprint better than Illmatic? That's just really what it is. It's like that to you. Specific, just yes or no answer.
I think there is a very strong argument that it is. Because
that's what I'm asking for.
I hear Jay-Z rap, I don't hear an amateur. When I hear Jay-Z rap, I don't hear an amateur. So when I hear
time out. So
when I hear rap, I'm hearing skill level. I'm hearing that. I'm from this where Rosa Parks, when Malcolm X was popped, Martin Luther was shot. So off we go. Let the trumpets blow and hold on. The driver of the Bentley is a pro. The rule is back. That's like superhero music.
Time out. I'm with you on the superhero music because it's a dope intro and he got it from Slick word for word, damn near. But you're telling me when you hear Illmatic, you hear an amateur?
Absolutely not. I'm saying I hear two dope rappers. So why is it crazy that I would be comparing two dope rappers?
Why did you say I don't hear an amateur on the Blueprint? What does that mean?
Because you're making it sound like it's crazy to compare Jay-Z to Nas. Like it's out of the...
No, we're talking about the Blueprint to Illmatic.
It's crazy to compare the Blueprint to Illmatic. Yes.
Why?
We compare Jay-Z to Nas many times on this channel. So obviously that part's not crazy. But to compare the Blueprint to Illmatic is.
It's
because of the music that's on it.
I don't know why that's crazy. I don't. Well, if I hear Life's a Bitch, which is a great record, phenomenal record, and I hear Takeover, I'm hearing two great songs. So
let's do this. Put Life's a Bitch on the Blueprint.
Halftime and Heart of the City, I'm hearing two great songs. So
let's put Life's a Bitch on the Blueprint. Where is it on that album?
Life's a Bitch on the Blueprint? Like, what do you mean? Where is it?
Where's the rank on that album? We put Life's
Right.
a Bitch on the Blueprint. Life's a Bitch is now on the Blueprint album. Where is it on that album?
Toward the back end. Pause. Toward the.
What songs are better than Life's a Bitch on the Blueprint? Go for it.
I think, again, man, I don't think
he already just was debating if girls was better than that. Like we can't even have this conversation.
If we put that,
I know we can't have this conversation with Leroy, man. We might as well we can't even have this conversation.
I think that the ruler's back. I don't think it's crazy to think that the ruler's back. Take over. You don't know. Heart of the city. Never change. All I need. Lyrical exercise. I don't think that's crazy to compare it to Life's a Bitch or say
Mike, why don't you poll it, Mike?
Why is that crazy?
Make a poll out of this.
I think we play some Interscope games right now. We play Interscope games.
The best producers at that time. Are you on just
Leroy, hold on 1 second, guys. Which song would you feel comfortable me polling against Life's a Bitch right now?
But I don't want to. You can post any song you want because I don't want to make parameters. I'm saying any route you want to go. Jay is prepared for Nas, so you could pick any song and it won't.
This dude is. I swear you can't stay on the subject.
Illmatic thing. This is not a Jay and Nas thing. Like even when me and Ryan have the whole Purple Rain Thriller conversation. This really ain't a Michael and Prince conversation. This is a Thriller Purple Rain conversation.
Right. So is Jay rapping like terrible on Blueprint or something? Did I miss something?
Quick timeout, guys. Quick timeout, guys. I got a guy on the line. I got a guy on the line that's been running around for the last 2 weeks. He's been hitting us up, Mike and I, Super Duper Leroy, saying he's exhausted from the marathon, running around Drake fans, Drake stands. He's celebrating this Kendrick Lamar stuff, but I want to challenge this guy because he's going to defend why I think he is. I'm not going to put words in his mouth, pause. That Good Kid, Mad City should be number 7 on this list. We got John Nori in the building.
John, before we get John Nori, I love John. Let me get to these super chats real quick, John.
What an intro. Yeah.
Illmatic with the super chat says, it's not Good Kid, Mad City. It's hard to digest. It just isn't. It's just musically, it's a little outdated compared to Damn. Damn is his best lyrical performance. He was very impressive on Damn. I think that what Damn did, it was kind of like, and I know it's not his third album technically, but a lot of the time, especially in the 90s era, a lot of artists found their footing on their third album. Like their first debut album is very raw. Their second album is kind of like where they made a lot of mistakes. And then their third album, they kind of got the best of both worlds. And I think with Damn, what he was able to do was find that pocket between Good Kid, Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly. DJ Bruce Almighty says, I agree with Leroy. I think as old heads, it's hard for us to place a top album from this generation over one from ours. Good Kid, Mad City ain't no slouch. I agree with that too. And I know John's going to get into that. 007 with the super chat says, Jigga Man himself would hear this take and laugh, saying that the Blueprint is better than Illmatic, calls for permanent mute of this guy.
Listen. Like I said in the chat, I think Illmatic is for a purist fan. I'm a purist fan. Now let's go to 90% of the world who don't care whether it's purist or not. They just like music. I think Jay appeals to those people. That if you want to go lyrical, Jay can go lyrical. If you want to go girls, and just make something for the girls, I think Jay is cool with that. So again, for me personally, yes, Illmatic is my personal purist album, yes. But I think beyond that, there's another world that Jay exists in. So he's adding an extra chamber to this conversation that Nas isn't adding.
You adding an extra topic to this. You adding an extra topic to what we actually talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about the album and cohesiveness. Everything that makes a great album. I mean, I just think that the Blueprint, even outside of those things that you're saying, it just has too many hiccups to be better than Illmatic. I think the Jigga, that nigga Jigga, takes it out of running in itself. To be honest, even if everything was on level footing, which it's not. Jigga, that nigga Jigga, and Hola Ovito take it out of Illmatic conversation to me.
One Time in Your Mind is popping. That's like that record.
It's just not as dope as everything else on that album. One Time for Your Mind is better than Ola Ovito, Rich Game, and Jigga That Nigga Jigga.
John,
One Time for Your Mind is actually All I Need level, if we're being honest.
Let's pivot. Let's pivot 1 second, guys.
Jay is crazy.
Let's pivot 1 second. We got John for a limited amount of time. John.
I'm sorry, John.
What say you,
so
sir,
good.
Tonight's conversation.
Hey, y'all not gonna like this, but this is a new generation of rap listeners. I feel like the thing with Kendrick is a lot of people think it's hype. It's not hype. It's mystique. That's what Kendrick has. That's what that album has. And there's a lot of first-time listeners. That's their first album that they listen to. It's not Section 80. It's Good Kid, Mad City. You might go to these boutiques, these hip-hop boutiques that still sell vinyl records. That album's on the wall on a golden plate.
Section 80 is
yeah. My bad, though. My bad. I'm in the break room. I just talked to homie, but he's a Kendrick fan too. But that's the album that connected for him. So when you I don't know if you ever been to a Kendrick concert, but when you go to the concert and when he gets to that part of the show where he starts going through that catalog and he gets to the Good Kid, Mad City joints, those are the joints that everybody's screaming word for word. You might have thought those were his biggest records. It's Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. It's Mad City. It's Sing For Me. It's Backseat Freestyle. All of these joints go hard. You would have thought these are some DMX Rough Rider records. And a lot of these records, they connect with people. And yes, it might not be the most commercially viable stuff like Damn. Like, a lot of people go to Damn, they get DNA, Element, God. A lot of those records are great to listen to. You can put them on a playlist and they'll go any day, anytime you feel like it. But when people think about Kendrick, they think about Good Kid, Mad City. When you think about the best hip hop that's come out in the 21st century, you think of Good Kid, Mad City, and he's built up that mystique, and you can't blame him for it. I mean, a lot of hip hop artists, their presentation is weak. They're talented. They make great albums. A lot of these songs, Doggy Style, Dre Day, Illmatic, for Cuban Links Only, all of these 36 Chambers, all of these albums are amazing albums. They will not be forgotten, but they don't have the mystique. It's not connected to a whole new generation that carries over and over again. And a lot of these guys, they don't have a run like Kendrick has. So I know it seems like people are glazing him and that they're just pushing him because he's like, I don't know, I guess he's an Interscope artist or he's the most relevant artist for all the backpackers right now. But he's just holding it down for the whole entire genre. He's legitimizing the genre going into the next century. And he's a titan in music right now. Pulitzer Prize, like people recognize him as a titan in our genre. And he's getting that love. Of course, we don't want to forget the classics. I love Nas. I love all of these songs, all of these albums that have been listed. But we got to make room. Like one of these guys, he's up in that conversation now. And we just got to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, imagine if someone came along right now that had half the skill of Illmatic. Like, wasn't Illmatic, but had half the skill. We would look at that person like they were an alien, just for half the skill right now. So when Kendrick came along, he had skill reminiscent of people of the 90s. And people was like, they put that up. Like, they put a pedestal on that,
John, let me ask you real quick, John. I understand your point. I appreciate it. I think you kind of called us old a little bit, but I'm not.
Not at all. I fuck with everything y'all there. I fuck with. I grew up on them records. It's not old.
I'm not gonna hold it against you. What do you say for people like that, like me and Super Duper, that say, okay, we understand, but we're really not feeling it. But we can't say it's an Apple Music has it the number 7th album of all time. What do you say? You think that's too high? You think this album's better than Illmatic? You think it's better than the Purple Tape? It's better than 2001. I mean, the Chronic. I mean,
but I think what he's saying though, Ron, is like the era that takes in this album don't even, they weren't raised on these records and they weren't there for those records, and this record is that record for them.
But but that argument is a little bit different because I was like 6 months old when Purple Rain came out. and I still think it's one of the best albums of all
Hey,
time.
hey, Purple Rain still goes. All of those records y'all bringing up, they're not old records. Those are the best records of that time. They're remembered for a reason. No one's gonna forget Purple Rain. Nobody's gonna forget Cuban Links. Nobody's gonna forget 36 Chambers. No one's gonna forget these albums. The thing is, we just got to make room. Like, this album is a very big moment in hip hop history. All of the big moments in hip hop history has been like only like it's like only swallowed in the 90s, the golden era. That's the only time you really think of the greatest hip hop moments, the golden era. We've had one of those moments now in the 21st century, and people are gravitating to that because you don't get that very often in the hip hop genre. Of course, we're the biggest culture right now. We're influencing everybody, but it's all about commerce. It's commerce. It's commerce. It's hits. It's hits. It's hits. It's vibes. It's vibes. It's vibes. And you get something that has that truly has the gravitas. I had to say something, homie. And you have the gravitas, and that has the cultural impact that Good Kid, Mad City has. And a lot of Kendrick's catalog, a lot of times people are gonna pick they're gonna pick Good Kid, Mad City. They're gonna pick To Pimp a Butterfly. Another person might pick Damn. You're just gonna see a list where they're gonna start going through his catalog and adding to the lexicon of hip hop greats because he's now a part of that. But you could say it's a bit high, but I mean, it's in the conversation now. Yeah,
let me ask you this, John. Do you think that, just based on what you're saying, do you think that people revere Kendrick like that because the game is so watered down compared to how it was in the golden era?
I was gonna ask something similar to that, man.
That's a good question. I don't think so. I think Kendrick Lamar would have been great in any era.
No, I'm not. No, this not really about Kendrick Lamar greatness or not. I'm saying about the state of hip hop. Like, is it that Kendrick is feeding the segment of hip hop that's looking for that real rap, and he is pretty much one of the only ones that's giving it to him out of this era and generation?
Yes.
But it's not just. But here's the thing: the problem that y'all don't see is, yes, hip hop is very commercial now. But a lot of people around the world, they don't recognize the commercialized hip hop as the grand hip hop that they remember. They look at the 90s, the early 2000s. That's the hip hop that they hold on a high pedestal. We haven't got long enough in history to see how the trap era and a lot of those records are going to, like Travis Scott and all these other guys. We don't know exactly how that's going to age yet. But Kendrick has been around long enough for him to age, and a lot of this, he's connected to that list of rappers, all those 90s rappers that we revere and hold up to that higher place. He's part of that. And he's bringing that, and a lot of people around the world, that's what they revere about hip hop, and he's bringing that to them, and that's why he gets held up to the standard, because he's one of the few commercial artists that can do it.
I agree with you when you say that, right? But what I look at it like he's been grandfathered in, because when you really look at it, right, who is this competition to make that content out of his era? You know Drake. What I'm saying? So, but Drake don't make the content that Kendrick makes.
But that's just Drake.
No. J. Cole,
Kendrick came out.
Come on, man. We're not talking Leroy. I'm talking about content wise. Drake does not make the same type of content that Kendrick does. They totally polar opposite type of artists. You know what I'm saying? They actually not even in the same lane. And that's what I'm saying about
they were in the same time period, is all I'm saying.
Okay, of course, but I'm saying that I'm talking about like lyrically, content wise, subject matter wise. They're not in the same lane.
That would be
right. I feel what you guys are saying, John. Man, we always appreciate you calling in, brother. I know. I promise that Mike that I'm gonna pull that workout with Common in that battle against K-Dot. I'm gonna need
your help, John.
I want you to help Mike out, John, because
I agree with dude though. I agree with him because
I really don't want to see Common get smoked like this, man. I literally listen to B every 2 weeks.
Okay, yes. So you're gonna be objective with it, but Mike gonna need your help, man. We're gonna set it up.
I'm gonna play to win. I say all these things critically about artists on this platform, but when it comes to us going song for song, I'm really gonna play to win, and I'm not gonna sit here and throw the fight for Kendrick or whatever. People might think,
baby, 25 records. We're gonna get into it. But John, man, we appreciate you, brother. Tap in with us on the next show, brother.
Salute to you, y'all. Enjoy your weekend.
No doubt, brother.
Peace, John.
LP's in the
super chat says, let's keep it 100. Snoop's first 5 albums aren't better than Kendrick's. Doggy Style is probably the best, but after that, he's in trouble. Do you really want to go song for song with Snoop versus Kendrick? Because I don't think many people want to go song for song. Illmatic said it's Big Crit. I thought about that too, from a content standpoint.
Lupe.
I could see Crit being Kendrick's, I guess, comparative when we talk about really being introspective. Lupe is somebody who came before Kendrick. I saw a post that somebody was saying, Lupe walked so Kendrick could run, and I could see that. Mad Max with the super chat says, "Drop the link. You're not about to gas up K-Dot."
I got you, Mad Max. Right after LP, man. LP joined us, man. I'm gonna get
LP's in the building. What's going on, LP? I think LP.
How's it going? Yeah, I'm driving, man. So if I get bad reception, I'll try to link back in. How's it going, y'all?
What's going on,
man? Good, sir.
What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, brother? Man. So things. What's up?
What's on your mind tonight, brother?
You got something for me? Go ahead, LP.
Oh man, yeah, Blueprint. Tripping, man. But before I even get there, first off, I never buy into any of the lists from these media companies and all that kind of stuff. It's always incentivized. It's always, I don't even trust the people who are in these panels. And I heard old boys saying that it's like a new generation and everything like that, but they're not the ones that are voting this stuff in. It's old man Ebro. These are people in their 50s and older, or hipsters. They're not really from the culture. So it always bothers me when there's already enough lists out there by true hip hop fans and media that for you to try to come in and try to rearrange what we've established is kind of crazy. I understand bringing K-Dot in and all that kind of stuff. I think he is that dude for this generation. He came from Compton. He came up on his own. He signed up under Dr. Dre. He's got that legacy going on. So no shade to him. But to put his album as the best hip hop album ever, and it might not even be the best in his catalog, let alone what Jay-Z's done and Nas and Wu-Tang and everything else, it's just crazy. It's like where Ebro and all these people, they should be making a list that's based off of like reality and credibility. It seems like they're trying to pander to the new generation too much by trying to add these people in where they don't belong. And Ron, I'm with you. Even if we didn't grow up in the music era, we know what it is. So it's hard to say, oh man, Good Kid belongs at number 7. It's new, it's fresh, you don't understand. But then Songs in the Key of Life came out like 50 years ago. What's the Beatles doing at number 3? They don't disrespect their categories like that. Another thing I have with that is like, if an artist has more than one great album, it should be on there. So I don't know how Off the Wall isn't on there. Prince should probably have more than 2. I think there's a few artists, right? There's a few artists that should have more than one album in the top 100. And Miseducation is not even the best R&B album. Let alone, I don't even, good for her. Glad she got a W, but that shit is trippy. Then the good, Kendrick Lamar being overrated the way that he is. He's overrated, man, but he's great. So it's not a knock on him. It's just like, to my man's point, Super Duper, it's like he's that right now, so he is the Nas of this generation. He is the golden child speaking for shit that's more, you know what I'm saying? So I get why they pump him up like that, but it's ridiculous to think that he's in the top 5, let alone top 3, that this album is the best hip hop album ever. Even the criteria that Ebro talking about, the impact and how everything did. There's so many more albums that are more impactful than Good Kid, Mad City, that it's not, there's no debate for it being placed where it is outside of pandering and trying to do that.
How many have?
I think Get Rich or Die Trying's better.
Get Rich, Illmatic, Great Rich or Die Trying. I would argue the Blueprint is better. Ready to Die is better. It's Dark and Hot is better. It Takes a Nation. Infamous not even listed. Get out of here. The Liquid Swords is better. Supreme Clientele is better. Was Supreme even on the list, man? That's crazy.
All 90s.
Hell, Do or Die.
That's not the 90s. I mean, we can go back to the 90s. I think Bandana is better if we're talking about recent albums. I think Bandana is a better album than that. Bandana.
That has evolved past the 90s. So if I'm in the 90s and I'm listening
who
to
says that it's an evolution? Just because time passes doesn't mean that it's an evolution of something. Time passed and the 70s R&B is still the best R&B. Like
in the 90s, I'm listening to Primo, Pete Rock, Large Pro, and Q-Tip. Now let's fast forward 10 years. Now I've been exposed to Kanye, Just Blaze, a better Dr. Dre, Timberland, Swizz, Bink. Who's to say that my taste hasn't changed? So
your
after
taste changing and saying something is evolving because of time is two totally different things. I wasn't into trap. I like trap now. My music changed. My taste, my palette changed. That doesn't mean that the new Future album is better than the new Nas album because I like Future's new shit. It just, I changed. That's not an evolution. If anything, it's a de-evolution. My young self will not listen to the shit that I'm listening to now. Like, it's changed. Like,
let me ask you this, Leroy. Leroy, let me ask you this.
I think that makes
sense. Leroy, if you're making that argument, what would you say are your 5 favorite hip hop albums of the past 10 years then?
Who, me?
Yeah, if your palette is things that you've updated
these albums
the past 10 years.
In the past 10 years. So
yeah.
Okay, so we can start with Black History and Cats and Dogs. Y'all even know what that is? Like, not
Black
you guys.
You're talking about Saha the Prince, right?
His new album's gonna be crazy too. It's 4 different parts, but I'm listening to more underground music. So we can go Fly God, we can go, but what I'm saying is after my ears have changed, I'm not looking at Only Built for Cuban Links the same way or Illmatic the same way. I think they're incredible albums, but my ears have gone in a further realm. So
Leroy,
if I'm listening to Just Blaze,
what's that got to do with historical documentation? It's like the history is the history. It's a top 100 list. So just because something is fresher and newer to you now doesn't make it better than what came. It's not even about the 90s because it doesn't have to even be hip hop related. There's a reason why Thriller is the #1 pop album and it's 30, 40 years old. New pop albums have came out since. It's not better. So it's not just about hip hop or time going by. The list is supposed to be documenting the top 100 albums of all time. That once you say all time, that means whether it came out yesterday or 60 years ago is irrelevant to the all time. Time don't exist no more because we're counting it all the same. It's about the quality of the music. It's not. It's objectively false to bring up, and it's disingenuous to bring up how you feel now when it's a conversation about everything that ever existed. That goes out the window, Leroy. It's about when it so no album from the 70s should be in the top 10 because we have to come in with fresh ears in any art form.
I'm saying all just yesterday. So if something comes out tomorrow that is better than Liquid Swords, right? If something comes out tomorrow that's better than Liquid Swords, I may have
better.
Because you said all. When you say all, that even means 2050. But if you say all, that means anytime.
We're saying all in time that's existed, bro. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you that somebody's going to drop an album in 2030 that's going to be better than OBK. I hope I'm alive to see it. And if it happens, that's all cool and all. But what we're saying is, well, at least what I'm saying is, let me not speak for everybody else, is that when something comes out, it's irrelevant to an all-time list if we're stating facts. Again, there's albums that came out more recently that I hold higher than old albums. So even that, what you're bringing up now is irrelevant because I can agree that the Blueprint that came out in 2001 is better than, say, whatever came out in America's Most Wanted, hypothetically speaking. I can make that. Okay, I'll make that argument, even if I'm tripping. The point is that that is all. Illmatic is 94. It Takes a Nation of Millions is 89. I think Illmatic is better. That was fresher. It came out later. That's just because it's a statement of fact. Not because one came out later, so my ears in 1994 are fresher.
You said Kendrick was great and overrated. How does that work? You're great and overrated?
Because you can. Because you can be great and not be number 2 all time, bro. That's why. Because you can be great and your album ain't the best hip hop album of all time. You can be the fucking man. LeBron is great. He's not better than MJ. You know
what? Time out. I want to answer that too, Leroy.
You're great and overrated.
Let me answer that question. Karl Malone's great, but to put Karl Malone number 2 or 3 all time is overrating him.
Right.
But I don't think they said Good Kid, Mad City was the greatest album of all time. I think they said Lauryn was.
Leroy, after your point, we got Mad Max in the building. LP man is cooking, but Mad Max wants to chime in real quick. He's on his break. What's good, Mad Max? What's going with you tonight, brother?
Yo, what's good, son?
Mad Max, what's good?
LP, you was frying Leroy. Leroy, I can't believe you saying this. It was damn near. I can't believe what this guy is saying right now. Blueprint better than Illmatic? I'm not even gonna get into that. You
said that.
I like Hope. But Blueprint over Illmatic? Come on, son.
But y'all said that. Y'all
Stop.
I said I could.
How the hell is Frank Ocean Blonde in the top 5? That's not even his best album. Get out of here. Lauryn Hill, I love you. I love you to death. And I listen to Miseducation. I go back to that, 2-3 times a year. I go back to Thriller 10 times a year. You gotta beat it. I don't know why you over him. There's a special dude right at number 2. He's 10 times better than you. Ever was. Sorry, beat it. Now Kendrick.
And
I'm not gonna cook him too much, but I just want to say this. Things don't always evolve over time, guys. Certain things devolve over time. You have certain things, a lot of things most of the time depreciate over time. I'm sorry, Kendrick has never made an album that elevated the game. I'm like, let's take it back to historical context. When Rakim dropped Paid in Full, not only did he change hip hop and how everybody he changed how his contemporaries was rhyming. LL Cool J's rhymes got better. KRS-One's rhymes got better. Kendrick's in the era of mumble rap and everybody's still mumbling. So it's not impactful. I'm sorry. It's true. It's cool. It's a cult thing. He has his fan base. That's cute. That's fine. He make little cute sour patch raps. That's cute. Little woke, I'm on my Shea Butter Twitter. I'm from my people. Rock, fist in the air. That's cool. But come on, son. This nigga's not like that, bro. What are you doing? He's not like that.
Hold on. To that point, this is one of Ebro's criteria. It's that albums that inspired a generation to want to create more music. Now, what could we say spawned from Good Kid, Mad City as far as
Mike, you don't even have to go that far, Mike. Look at it. Mike, look at it like this. Mike. When Golden State came in the game and they changed how people and they was playing that basketball that way, everybody started shooting threes.
Yep.
In art mimics life. If it's great, people gonna mimic it because they think it's great. So when you have movies like Scarface in the 90s and stuff like that, what happened? They started making mafioso raps, right? And that was the whole wave. Once Only Built for Cuban Links came out, and that was the greatest mafioso rap album other than Reasonable Doubt ever. Everybody else started making mafioso.
Piggyback off of that album, if we're gonna
piggyback off of that album. That's what I'm saying. If it's great, people gonna copy it. It's gonna become a thing. That never became a thing. Take Care is more influential if we talking on hip hop, even if you want to say it positive or negative way, than Good Kid, Mad City. Come on, Take Care is not supposed to be over no damn All Eyes on Me. I need them to drop the location on Apple. Somebody's getting booed tonight. You're not playing with my vote. Stop.
But Max, how do we copy Kendrick? Like how? If someone else is gonna go make a Good Kid, Mad City,
Nas copied Rakim, Leroy.
Section 80.
Who's gonna be Rakim? And people copy Nas.
Just like Kendrick copied Outkast is how we do it.
Who got it? It was written. Someone copied Nas. Who got it? Where's the receipts?
Wait. Jay-Z copied a lot of Nas's stuff, Leroy. We tell you how he was putting stuff together, Leroy. Don't do that.
Come
Your goat was copying Nas.
Copying them.
Nas designed your blueprint. Who you kidding?
Who got an Illmatic? It was written. Who got those? So how you gonna make Good Kid, Mad City? Who got Section 8?
Don't they say Good Kid, Mad City is Illmatic for the West Coast? So
Who?
That's not what they say.
That's
another thing.
That's
another thing. How can Illmatic be described as hip hop's Bible, and Good Kid, Mad City be described as, you know, the 2010s version of Illmatic, and it's like 40 spots ahead of Illmatic?
That's a very great point.
Right.
And
and to Max's point, Leroy, it's not that they make a Good Kid, Mad City. Is that it creates a trend that people follow, whether it's good or not. So when they started doing the mafioso raps, some people made some dope ass mafioso records. Some people made some fucking trash, right? When Max made a great point. When somebody drops something and it's truly impactful, you see the shift and the change in what's going on. Good Kid, Mad City is a dope ass album. I think it's great. It didn't change the way people rap. It didn't make people want to say, "Oh, I'm going back to this." Future has more impactful albums that actually change culture. Migos. If we're talking about this generation and your fresh ears, Migos made your ears fresher than where they were before. Not Kendrick. Kendrick just showed that that type of hip hop could still be done on a high level. It didn't.
And even
it didn't impact anything.
LP, when you say that, Kendrick was also taking the Migos and Future stuff on Damn. He's using a lot of their flows on there.
Right, because I'm just talking about Good Kid, Mad City. But to your point, he also started copping off of that style. And Mike, I heard you bring up Big Crit earlier. If there was ever an argument for an artist that didn't get what they should because of lack of commercial and placement and was a true artist, it's Big Crit. And a lot of people during that time knew that he was the one, and that it was Cole and Kendrick and all them that was following what he was doing and the sound that he was doing during the if you were in the blog era and if you're in those rooms and has everything that was going on, it was Crit. He's the only person on that control. He was the only person on that control that nobody. If you didn't know, you don't know why this guy is even on here or anything else. And he actually made the albums that people should be going back to, just to speak on that. So Kendrick, the machine helped him out, and that's where he's at right now. And of course, it's going to work the way that it does. But number two, what?
I'm gonna dip out, y'all. I'm gonna dip out. It's time for me to go back to work. But I just had to get that off my chest.
Hey man,
Shalom, Max.
Super duper, man. You ain't chimed in a while, man. What's on your mind?
I mean, it's good to let them cook Leroy on this, because Leroy just, like I said, man, I don't know what Leroy be doing, man. My man will argue anything. Like, it don't make sense. But listen. But this goes back to what we said maybe a couple podcasts ago, where I was making the point that the game has just been so watered down that it makes a guy like Kendrick look good. And I can't blame the younger generation for loving Kendrick, because, you know, like, he is kind of what the game been missing.
They don't know any better.
They don't know any better. So, you know, if you like, I don't understand how guys can love like a J. Cole and love a Kendrick, but not be into a Nas or a Jay-Z or even a Mos Def, or, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not playing this generational young old game, and you strictly into the art and love hip hop, I mean, you should love them guys too. And like we were saying, man, like, I mean, I still love Parliament, P-Funk, George Clinton. I still love that music. That's way before my time. So good music is good music. It's not a generational thing. You know what I mean? And with this list, if we're gonna say the greatest of all time, then yeah, okay, now we get to critique where you placing people at and where you putting songs at and when you doing what you're doing. It's not, I mean, it's a basic thing. I don't even understand what Leroy really arguing about.
This is the thing, man. Like,
you give Kendrick props, then say he doesn't deserve it. So which one is it? Because everyone that commented here is like,
deserve the placement that he's getting.
Yeah, Lauryn, it's context, bro. Everything isn't so linear. Both can exist in the world, bro. You can give him the props and be like, it doesn't need to be number two. Like, those two things are not mutually, they don't exist in the same bubble of fucking creation where they can't exist without one another, bro. That's what it is. nobody is knocking K-Dot, right? Like I think he's dope. He's in my top 15 to 10. He's not number 2.
I'll
Like,
tell you this, Leroy. If you think placing Kendrick Lamar over Rakim is not overrating him, I don't know what to tell you.
Mike, Rakim in the last 18 years or something got like 2 albums, bro. Kendrick got like 10 albums.
So what?
And even
Master P has 20 albums, bro.
So
even if we're gonna say that, right? Too. I mean,
Kendrick ain't even got a lot of albums like that. So for you to make the album, like the amount of album argument,
not quantity.
Kendrick's narrative either. He ain't got a lot of albums like that. How many albums he got in the past 15 years?
Rakim
to his counterpart.
But at what point do we move past the 80s and 90s? Now
you're greatness is what I'm saying. And you know what? Donnell Jones is where I want to be. Album was like the soundtrack of my
every one of you used the word great to describe Kendrick. So why are you using the word great? It shouldn't be great. He shouldn't be great.
Leroy, you don't make sense, man.
Larry, your logic is so backwards. It's crazy, Mike. Go ahead.
Using the word great to describe Kendrick. Then you're like, well, he shouldn't be there. Well, if he shouldn't be there, why is he so great?
Mike, is Good Kid, Mad City better than any Jay-Z album?
Man, y'all got to mute Leroy, man.
Yeah, man.
It's probably better than like Volume 3. Probably better than like probably better than Dynasty, maybe. Probably better than. I mean, Jay-Z is not impenetrable. Y'all say that about me.
No, but that's the point. You're arguing for somebody for being fresher than the other person, but in the same sense, if we bring up a person that you hold to a high standard from the past, you're only willing to say that his best album is better than Jay-Z's like 5th best album. So even within your defense of trying to say that we can't separate the two, you're actively separating the two because you won't admit by your logic that Good Kid, Mad City is better than everything Jay-Z ever put out because he's fresher and new, and you should just accept that. So Leroy, you should just accept that Good Kid, Mad City is better than every Jay-Z album because he dropped in 2010 and Jay-Z dropped in 1996.
I don't know.
The 90s.
At what point?
Forget the 90s, Leroy. It's about now. Good Kid, Mad City is better than the Blueprint.
It means better than Jay's whole catalog. If you think I said that, then that's fine. But I never.
It's just how backwards your logic is, bro. It's the way your brain is wired right now. It ain't making no sense. That's why we got to use an argument that puts you in the position where that's the logic that you're using, bro.
And we didn't say it. The list said it. The list said Good Kid, Mad City was better than everything Jay-Z made.
I don't think better than everything Jay has made. I'm sorry. Maybe y'all do, but I don't.
No, we don't. But that's the point. Yeah, but that's the point. By your logic, we should be saying that it is because it's fresher and newer, and we need to forget the 90s.
I do think that Kendrick sounds more dynamic than the sounds of the 90s. Yes.
Well, no, specifically more dynamic than Reasonable Doubt and Volume 2 and The Blueprint and Volume 1. It sounds more dynamic than all of that stuff.
And the Black Album.
And the Black Album.
I do think musically, time has allotted Kendrick to use more styles. Yes.
Time out real quick. We got another special guest in the building tonight. DJ Bootsall. I know Mike, you had a point, and then do your point, Mike, and then somebody jump in.
I'll give my point. I mean, I'm just going to that whole timeless point. My senior year, man, Donnell Jones is Where I Want to Be album was like the soundtrack of my senior year. But even at that point, 17-year-old me wouldn't say that album was better than Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. Time doesn't matter. Like, the music matters. And I think where Leroy struggles is you put a person, you're judging a person more so than the music and the album. And as much as I love Michael Jackson, I judge his albums based on the music on those albums and not them being Michael Jackson albums. I would even say that even in relation to his sister, I would even say that Rhythm Nation is better than Bad and Dangerous. And there could be an argument that someone could say Rhythm Nation is better than Off the Wall. We can have a conversation with that. I don't know, but we're talking about the albums. We're not talking about the actual artists, the lyricists, or whatever. Those are two different arguments. And, you know, I'm just going to be honest. The Blueprint's just not a better album than Illmatic. Good Kid, Mad City is just not a better album than Illmatic. I don't think it's a better album than The Blueprint. I don't think it's a better album than The Chronic. And I mean, again, we're talking about the album and what draws you back to these albums. We're not talking about the individual artists. That's a whole different conversation. I mean, I think that when you talk about individual lyricists and their skill sets, or even if we're talking about singers and entertainers and their skill set, it's a different conversation. But to say that Blonde is better than Songs in the Key of Life is fucking crazy. And honestly, I don't care what these people at Apple Music say. There's nobody who could sit there and give a formalized, intelligent argument as to why, other than pandering to a younger audience. I don't care if you got young ears, old ears, whatever.
Some shit.
Whenever you hear those songs on some shit. Songs have stood the test of time in ways that songs from Blonde just hasn't. Bottom line.
Mike, Kanye and Just Blaze, they did their thing on Blueprint, bro. I'm sorry, like they did their thing.
Man, did you not miss the point of what he was just saying? I think you missed everything he just said. It just went.
I don't have no musical merit. That I'm only picking off favoritism because I like the person, and he really don't have music like that. Now I disagree. I think we can.
The Good Kid, Mad City is better than the Dynasty in Volume 3 is crazy.
We could pull up Jay's bars and prove to you he's rapping.
And 1 second, guys. We got DJ Bruce Almighty. We got DJ Bruce Almighty in the building. DJ Bruce Almighty, I know you've been listening patiently to the conversation between Mike, Super LP, myself, Mike D. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Can y'all hear me?
What's up, man? Appreciate you checking in.
Yes, sir.
No problem. Hey, so my argument is slightly similar to Leroy's, and I never agree with Leroy, so I'm shocked because Leroy be wilding. But this is what I think, right? I think that as older heads, we fall in love with the music from our generation. So we hear the new stuff and we hear it differently. So not saying that stuff is better because it's older, but saying that we probably won't appreciate the music as much as the younger generation does. If you notice, every album that y'all name that we go back and listen to all the time is an R&B album. Young kids don't go back and listen to Rakim. Young kids, if you put EPMD album on right now to a teenager, he is not going to be able to grab that album and be like, I love this. This is the best album I ever heard. If you take Public Enemy, I played Public Enemy in a car with like young 20-year-olds. They're like, what the hell is this? It's just different. So I get what y'all saying, and the list is trash. Like, I'm not even gonna sit here in front. But I just don't think that at our age we're gonna appreciate that Kendrick album the same way. Kendrick album is amazing, like all of them. And I still got Jay over him. I still got all these people over him. I don't think it's the best hip hop album ever. Nowhere near it. But I ain't mad at the list for that. The second thing I want to say.
Can I respond to that real quick?
Yes, sir.
I think that, my problem is, and again, this happened when we were growing up too, where it was certain albums that we felt like wouldn't be moved, right? You would have What's Going On. You would have Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band being ranked super high over, anything that was in our lifetime. Shit, even over stuff like Thriller and Purple Rain. But my thing is, man, when you have that top 100 disc record countdown and you have The Bridge Is Over behind songs that came out 3 weeks ago, this is what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way you could formulate an argument that They Not Like Us and Euphoria are better disc records than The Bridge Is Over. Like, you just can't even do that. Like, and so those are the patterns that they're setting, and it's all being set with the same individual too. Not to mention, All Right is being ranked the #1 hip hop song in the streaming era over records that performed way better than it. That's not generational. Bodak Yellow came out in the same era.
And I heard that part too. I don't think that Bodak Yellow is better than
Bodak Yellow. Bodak Yellow.
And I'm a Cardi B fan. I think that Invasion of Privacy album is a classic. I don't think that Bodak Yellow is better than All Right. The other songs you named, you got an argument.
Bad and
Especially
Bougie.
the Migos song. What's the Migos
Records
song? Bad and Bougie.
outperformed all right on every metric. So it feels like Kendrick is getting the benefit of things that we can't even quantify. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Mike,
But Mike,
how are you basing
is he
better
going
than everybody in his generation and before him?
Mike,
When-
I one more thing I wanted to say too, the super duper.
when
When you was asking who can we compare to him, right? And you were saying we can't compare Drake to him because they're in two different lanes. But if we want to be real, Nas and Jay in two different lanes too. It's just because they battle.
I agree.
That
I
we
agree with
compare
that.
them all the time, but they make two totally different types of music. And
Yeah.
one is more like an underground sound, and one is more mainstream. So you have to compare Drake, Cole, and
Listen.
Kendrick to each other because of the
DJ.
time they came out, not because of the music.
DJ, to me, there is no comparison really between Nas and Jay-Z. I never
agree.
thought that Jay-Z was on Nas level. Now, you know, lyrically or I mean, content wise, song making wise, I never thought that Jay-Z was on the level of Nas. Nas always been my GOAT. The only two people that I compare, and that should be the true comparison, should be Tupac and Nas if we're gonna compare the two. But
Tupac
other than
not
that,
good enough
no,
lyricist,
I
but I feel you
I
on
never
that.
compared Jay-Z to Nas. Never did.
Tupac can't rap on Nas level, but I feel where you're coming from.
New York City. Jay is from New York City. You mean to tell
But
me
I
they're
wanna-
talking to different people?
So I disagree with Leroy as far as, and I'm a Jay-Z guy.
Your shows. When you go to a Nas show, then you go to a Jay show. You mean to tell me it's not the same people in there?
Yeah, but there's two different lanes that they rapping in, like you said.
Yeah,
so I
there's two
never
different lanes, two different
compared.
content types, two different types of rap. It's not the same. They're not in the same lane.
Leroy,
They
that's
have
like
the same
saying
fans,
somebody
yeah.
from LA is rapping and it's the same as somebody from the Bay Area. Just because they're both from New York doesn't mean that they're speaking to the same person or making the same kind of music. It's 8 million people in that. It's two different approaches.
Jay-Z talk about a lot of dope, and you can't go to a lot of Nas fans and Nas songs and say he was talking about selling dope on there.
Nas is talking
a large, and he was appealing to a mainstream crowd, so it's
The
completely
approach is
different.
just different. And then, you know, to your point, like, I would understand if the list was actually created by the youth, then I would understand why these are being placed the way that they are. But these are old people making these lists. I don't think that there's anybody making this list right now that's younger than 22, 23 years old. I don't believe that person is on the list, making the list, right? Then second of all, if I see, the thing is that we're young enough. I don't think that this is, maybe there are people that as time goes by, they don't appreciate the new sound. I don't think that anybody in this chat is one of those people, right? So we got to be specific about who we speak about and everything else. There's things that have evolved that I can acknowledge is better now than was at a different time. Not just in hip hop, not primarily hip hop, because I think every music has its peak. So like soul had its peak in this, it just didn't get better than that. I think the peak is the 90s. But I also think there was a downtime in the 08s, 09s, and I think 2010, 11, 12 was better. So we can acknowledge when things are better than where they were and when there were a downtime and everything else. So,
Sometime.
Right.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example real quick.
Crit is doing Kendrick better than Kendrick. Crit is a better Kendrick than Kendrick, in your opinion. So who else is
not to me? Crit don't have that classic album.
No. I think Crit did Crit, and he was doing what the forefathers of him did. He just did it as one.
Who else?
He was the guy during that era.
Who else is
Let me ask y'all a question real quick. Because I got a hip hop group on Facebook, right? With about 2,500 members. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. They're around my age, most of the people. I asked the question today, just to gauge the opinion. Do you feel like Freddie Gibbs can be a top 50 greatest rapper of all time?
Yes.
Dudes was laughing in the chat. And I said, why are y'all laughing? The dude lyrically is above average. He can rap better than a lot of people, and he got classic albums. It's just that because he's from this generation, they're not going to accept it the same. They'll go back and grab a Mace, and Mace is dope, right? So maybe Mace is a bad example. Let me think of somebody who was on that list.
No, you're right. Because Mace doesn't have the catalog that Freddie has.
That Freddie Gibbs do. So they'll go back and grab a Mace and be like, Mace in the top 50, but they'll look at Freddie Gibbs.
I'm glad that you're making this.
Freddie,
you know what? And I'm glad that
Freddie did not do what Mace did. Mace dropped.
From an impact standpoint, yes, you're right.
The Mace No Way Out. Mace wrote No Way Out. That album went damn near went diamond. You know what I'm saying?
And for people that are coming up and not open-minded, that's where people like you step up and say, no, he does deserve to be better, and this is why. Yeah. He will speak up, and will speak up, and whoever will speak up and say, hey, actually, this is why it belongs, and you're being closed-minded. Let me help you out. That's what Ebro is supposed to be. That's what these people who are putting these lists together are supposed to be. So they'll do that with R&B. They'll make sure, hey, you need to know about Thriller. You need to know about Purple Rain. You need to know about the Beatles. But when it comes to hip-hop, they just play around with it. There's an established thing that all hip-hoppers, one way or another, understand or on the same page about. So if somebody's going to put Good Kid or any of these people above albums that we have cemented, it needs to be specifically from the culture, and it needs to be like, this is why, and that's when we'll respect it. It can't be Apple and Forbes telling us that Kendrick Lamar and Nicki Minaj is better than Nas and Rakim. Like, that's insane.
Hey, let me say this real quick too, John.
Freddie Gibbs should be so Kendrick should be moved and Freddie Gibbs should be there. Like, what are y'all saying?
Let me say this real quick. Let me say this real quick, John.
Super Duper's going to go, and then I think Shah Sun is on because Shah Sun wants to respond to something that Super Duper said. So Super Duper, you cook, then Shah Sun come right after him to respond to Super Duper.
I think that me as a hip hop head, and I think all of us as true hip hop heads, I'm waiting for somebody to be considered great, like better than a Nas or a Jay-Z. I'm not rooting against the youth just because they're young. I'm looking for the game to elevate, and I'm looking for somebody to come out that I feel like is on equal footing or lyrically.
But will you
just as
accept it
dynamic.
if you hear it? Will you accept it if you hear it? That's the point I'm making. It'll be hard for you to accept it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm open. I'm willing to accept it, but me just saying Kendrick is better than Nas, just to be saying it because he's new, that it's not acceptable for me because I truly don't feel that way. Now
you're willing to look at the new younger dudes, and then you compare Kendrick to Nas. Nas is not a new younger dude. So compare Kendrick to his weight class.
I said that I'm waiting to put somebody over him. The game should evolve. So I'm waiting for somebody to come out that's lyrically as good as a Jay-Z, lyrically as great.
But mentally, it's hard for us to do. Like, I'm gonna give you an example real quick, and I'm sorry for interrupting you. You rarely hear younger people, like maybe let's say 35, they ain't even that young, put Rakim at number one. It's usually older dudes who was around when he came out that's choosing Rakim and KRS-One. Like my brother 50, and he told me when I hear KRS rap, he say something I never I can't believe he said that, and that's how I feel about Jay. So we can't act like different time periods don't affect our taste of music.
That's a good point. Shah's son he's been waiting patiently.
My bad, y'all.
He's in the background waiting patiently. He had a something to say to Super Duper about Nas and Jay-Z. So I won't steal your thunder, Shah son. Welcome to the show, sir.
Peace,
what's on your mind?
Peace, brother. I love this conversation.
Appreciate you.
As far as the Jay-Z and Nas thing, I heard him say like Jay-Z has never been on Nas level. I think this all ties in. When we talking about a rapper or comparing, I think we should always factor in how much work they're putting in. Like as far as like features, classic albums, classic records. It's not just being better. When y'all had the conversation about somebody said you can't be overrated and great. You actually can. I think that Lauryn Hill, Raekwon, Rakim, these people have classic albums, but where's the work? When you like growing up, like I'm from the East Coast. I think a lot of times you guys get an outside view. If you ask most people from New York and New Jersey who's better out of Kane and Rakim, when they compare it, they talk about actual work. After Rakim's first album, it gets bleak. You don't hear much. So again, from the outside looking in, you'll think Rakim is better if you're just going off strictly that. But when you look at the work, it's not there. You got KRS-One, you got Kane, you got LL. But because New York is revered as this hip hop place, you guys will say, "Oh, Rakim is great." Not saying he's not. I'm just saying you have to compare the actual work put in. When we talk about Nas and Jay, I think work ethic, when we talk about like classic hits, classic features, Jay has classic features in the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and he has hits, whether you like them or not or feel like they're commercial. When you compare the work ethic, Nas does not compare.
I never compared the work ethic.
No, I'm just saying we have to consider that. So when let's tie it into this Kendrick is the new Nas.
I think they both prove work ethic.
Wait. Kendrick's classic, the place as it compares to a Drake in this generation. Where's his classic freestyles? Where's his classic mixtapes? Which it's just not just you're better because you rap better. It's work.
Today you got to have a new freestyle every 24 hours. Jay and Nas don't come from that era. Don't come from that.
No, what
I'm saying is once a year.
What I'm saying is what qualifies Kendrick to be compared to somebody when he don't put work in like that? He's not that type of artist. He doesn't come outside like that.
So who puts in more? Who is doing that? West Side. So West Side Gun puts in more work than Kendrick, right? We'll all agree, right?
But
Freddie does too.
Freddie.
So
where is Freddie's Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Untitled, Mr. Morale? Where is Freddie's stuff?
No.
Oh, Leroy, let him finish.
I think Freddie is who he is, but I'm on your side with that. I don't think I'll replace him with Kendrick because Kendrick is showing up in the big leagues, and you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. Freddie don't got no classic features,
bro. And nobody even said that. Like Leroy just created a fake narrative out of thin air because Freddie was brought up.
Out the way. Let's move Kendrick out the way. Who do y'all want in Kendrick's spot?
Bro, who are you wanting Kendrick's spot? You're having a conversation. You're having a debate with yourself. Nobody else said that just because you're bringing up Freddie.
So we don't want to move Kendrick out the way.
Wait, Leroy, what spot is Kendrick in? Are we saying he's
I just want Kendrick to make some good music.
Is he Mount Rushmore of his class, or we're just talking about all time? Because
I'm asking
he's Mount Rushmore.
He's top, in my opinion, he's top 10 of all time. He's worthy of that.
If somebody is better than Kendrick, right? I think Lupe may be better than Kendrick, and I would make that argument if we're not talking about me. We're talking about.
Oh, that's interesting. Hold on 1 second, son.
Who y'all move Kendrick out the way for?
Hold on, real quick. I want to know about what metric, and I'm just asking the question here. Why would you put Lupe ahead of Kendrick?
That's my own personal opinion. I'm asking y'all. I'm asking.
Based off what?
He wasn't even talking to you.
So what? I mean, if I said something like that and you asked me, I could tell you why. I just want to know why you.
I'm a lyrical person. I'm a lyrical guy, right? So I'm looking at lyrics, right?
Lyrics alone.
But
all right, wait. Leroy,
Lupe also has the Food and Liquor, The Cool, Tetsu and Youth, Drogas Wave, Drill Music and Zion. He also has those. If you want to get crazy with conceptual to beat Kendrick, your whole record got to be conceptual. And they got to be big singles, and they got to be impactful, and they got to touch the people's spirit in a way that's beyond money. So
let me respond to what he said though, real quick. Just real quick. My fault, Ron. I said to me, you can't compare Nas and Jay-Z based on content, not work ethics, not hits or anything. Because I don't I said this many times. I'm not a fan of one Jay-Z hit, really, honestly. I don't like Jay-Z hits. So musically, Nas is better than me. Content-wise, Nas is better than me. Storytelling-wise, Nas is better than me. And they apples and oranges. So to me, they shouldn't be compared because they are in two different lanes to me. So I
work ethic narrative. Sorry for cutting you off. That doesn't even match up now because of what Nas just did in the past 3 years with 6 albums and what Jay-Z's put out. That the verses, he's just putting out verses. So if we're talking about marathon, Nas caught up if there was any points in time where he fell behind. And then one more other thing, just because I can't let this slide. Rakim has a better catalog than Big Daddy Kane, and he put out more records than Big Daddy Kane. So if you still want to put Big Daddy Kane over Rakim, do your thing, but by no standard.
I hate that narrative too about the last. The last few
I'm
Nas
not
albums,
saying
right?
that.
Because they 50. Like, are we still looking for him to put out albums every year?
No.
Right.
But when
I'm not
we're talking
Just
about
my opinion,
Nas
though.
and Jay, I hear an introspective street dude when I hear Nas. When I hear Jay, I hear an introspective street dude. So I don't know what's so different about an introspective street guy.
Is Nas a street dude?
Yeah. What part of Nas
So
is not?
he tells a story from that perspective, but he's not into it. Like he's not.
Nas not in the street. You sure?
He's not like he's not the dude dealing the dope and pulling the triggers, and he talks about it.
He talks about it as what?
He tells
As
a story.
Down with the business too, right?
He's not the.
But even if
I guess
this is introspective, right? You think Nas is introspective. I listen to Jay because he's introspective. What's the difference?
So we don't have to go down this lane again, man. I think everybody knows that there's a difference.
No one moved Kendrick out the way. This whole time, no one moved Kendrick out the way.
Time out for a second, guys. Let me just do some housekeeping real quick. So I thank everybody for calling in. Me and Mike have a bloodbath with Leroy Super Duper that we need to do. So I'm gonna start off with Son. 1 second. I know this guy's been patiently waiting. I'm with Chris Hogan. A few comments, and we'll go to Shah Sun. Then we'll go to DJ Bruce Almighty and LP, and then we get to the bloodbath. So Chris Hogan's on the line. Chris Hogan, quick thoughts, real quick before we segue.
What's going on, y'all? I just got this one thing that nobody really said about the Kendrick point. What features does Kendrick do that actually shows you that he's one of the best rappers in his generation? He don't do no features with nobody. He hardly do features with people on his own label, the Schoolboy Q's, Ab Souls. He don't do no features. He don't hop on nobody's albums. Who hops on his album that really can rap?
Yo,
Nobody.
that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point, Christopher Hogan, man. Appreciate you, man. Check us out on Saturday. Check out the show with me and Vay tomorrow or Friday. We appreciate you, brother. That's a good point.
Salute
I agree 100%.
Shah Sun, closing thoughts, brother. Oh, we lost Shah Sun. DJ Bruce Almighty, closing thoughts, brother.
I'm gonna sue Leroy some bell, right? I disagree with him, and I'm a big Jay-Z fan. I disagree with him that Illmatic is not better than the Blueprint, but I do like Reasonable Doubt better though. But I think Illmatic is better than Blueprint.
No doubt, man. DJ Bruce Almighty, man. We appreciate you, brother. Tapping with us on Saturday. Check out the Rave show. Appreciate you, bro. LP.
Hey. Yo, man, my closing thoughts is because this is all about the list or whatever. I think it needs to be objective. Whether you're biased for the new or biased for the old or whatever biases is, that's why you get a group of people that are objective and you put a list that's an objective one, especially if you're going to pull from other cultures and try to, when you don't belong, you're not really involved in it like that. You got to take cues and can't just tell us what's supposed to be best or what's not on any given list. So that's my only thing about it. I would understand different placements if it was the youth, but then if that was the case, a lot of these albums, there would be no Beatles album in the top 100 if it was based off of just the youth. So there is this stuff going on. And also, talking about objectivity, you guys are from Atlanta, but you can make a top 100 list and have Only Built for Cuban Links and have Liquid Swords and have Aquemini and have The Diary on there. So you guys, Mike, Ron, Poopy 4, all this kind of stuff, you guys are examples of people coming from a whole different area and still being able to be objective of where these songs and albums belong on the list. So if I'm going to take credibility for anybody making a list, it's going to be from an According to Hip Hop or for some of these platforms that are really come from it and can be objective. Because if Mike said, oh man, King is better than Illmatic, I wouldn't take him serious. That'd be over. But he don't say that, So that's my 1-2 about it. Right. I mean, you still be tripping about the TI. They age like milk to me. That's a whole nother conversation. But still, I trust your judgment on that, and I think that's the big difference there with these third party companies coming in and try to tell us in what order hip hop should be in and why. Hey, Kendrick's album is better than this album that's been established as the best, and just take it because we said it, bro. Who the is who are you? You're not nobody to be telling us that, you
No,
know.
Ebro's
So
been around a long time, bro. Ebro been
sorry,
around a while in hip hop.
that don't make
Yeah,
nothing.
and
That
I
he's
agree
been
with that.
pandering
My
for a
thing,
long time too. He also blackballed Wu-Tang. He also stopped Nas from doing his show. He also kind of helped kill New York hip hop. He ain't.
I was
You can be here for a long. You could be here for a long time and be trash. Puffy was here for a long time. Who knows how much stuff's about to come out about him?
we
So
with Kendrick, we have a problem with the way Kendrick is rated. I'm saying if you don't like Kendrick, who else you gonna put in the spot? That's all I
no,
said, man.
the thing is that you got an extreme. You think that because we don't have his album as the best hip hop, or that he's number 2 all time, that somehow he's being dismissed as a great artist. Both can be true. You think Jay-Z is number 1. Most people think Nas is number 1. If you think that Nas is number 2, we don't think that you think Nas is trash and you need to move him off the list. Like the logic is off, Leroy. We
You
can.
think most
It's not
people?
about K-Dot.
You think
It's
most
about the
people
list
think Nas is better
altogether
than
and
Jay?
how it's being placed.
You think most people, the majority of hip hop, think Nas is better than Jay?
I think in the true hip hop headspace,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
1,000%,
Hey, hey,
1,000%.
we got to land that plane, brother. We appreciate it.
Hey, y'all take it easy.
Check us out on
appreciate you,
Saturday. Shot
LP.
Son, what's your final
Hey, y'all
word?
take it easy.
What's your final word, Shot Son? And we're gonna get to the battle royal. Shot Son,
All
closing
right.
thoughts.
Yeah. In the overall greatest of all time, Kendrick being overrated, I don't know. I don't know. But in his era, in his class, he's definitely not overrated. He's Mount Rushmore in his class, and I think that the list gets longer through the years because we have more people. So again, whether somebody want to argue if he's top 5 of all time, that's a fight in itself. But as far as his class goes, he's definitely a legend, a GOAT. It's undeniable. I don't think we replace him in his class.
All right, appreciate it, bro. Shot Son, man. Thank you for
Thank you,
tapping in
guys.
with us, brother. Check us back on Saturday, man. Check us out other shows, man. We appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys too.
I appreciate it, bro.
All right, Mike. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's do it.
What are we doing?
Before we,
He said, hang up on the caller when they say Cardi B has a classic album. So, I mean, I can see Invasion of Privacy being a classic. All right. Listen, my biggest issue, it wasn't even the Blueprint, Illmatic, or even the Good Kid, Mad City stuff. Even though that being that far ahead of the Chronic is egregious, is crazy to me. But the fact that these publications refuse to give Thriller its proper due as the greatest album of all time. It's clearly the greatest album of all time by any metric. What metric can anyone really put forth to put an album over Thriller? Would it be the sales? You can't do that. Would it be the hits? You can't really do that. Would it be just song for song? You can't really do that either. This is the album that created the music video. It changed the music industry forever. It created a whole different lane and blueprint, no pun intended, for everything that follows it. I think it's easy to dismiss some of these things because of who made it, and not to say that this is a mission to discredit Michael, which it could be to some levels, but I think that when you're an artist on a certain level and people are used to your overall greatness, as great as he is and as great as that album is, he was so great that I think he even overshadowed the greatness of that album to a certain extent. I think that those songs became such standards that we take the quality of those records for granted. I was listening to Billie Jean, a song that was mixed, I heard like 86 times or some crazy shit like that. Rest in peace to Bruce Sweeten. But they mixed that record like 86 times. And when you listen to the song Billie Jean itself, this is an incredible record. You can't even really put that song in a genre. Is it an R&B song? Is it a rock song? Is it a pop song? Is it a disco song? We don't know. Like, it's such an incredible song. And I think we overlook it because it's become such a standard. And it's become one of those songs that we just kind of take for granted. Oh, that's Michael Jackson's song. But listen to Billie Jean in a vacuum like it's an artist that you never heard of before. This is an incredible record. Same thing for Human Nature. Same thing for Lady in My Life. Same thing for PYT. Any of these songs that are on this album would possibly be a very good to great artist's best song. That's how great this album is.
Mike? What's your argument? What's your argument, Mike?
What is my argument? My argument is that by every metric and any metric that you put forth, Thriller's the greatest album ever. And,
let me get him free.
And I don't think that, and no disrespect to Lauryn Hill, but as much as I love Lauryn Hill, as much as I love the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, it just doesn't have the records to match up to Thriller in that light. And if we talk about the B-sides on that album, the B-sides for Miseducation just aren't strong enough to compete with Thriller in itself. Thriller has literally one B-side on it, and that's Baby Be Mine. And if you put Baby Be Mine on right now, you're like, man, this is a great record. That's a single for anybody. If Chris Brown had Baby Be Mine, it's a big hit record for him. That is the only quote-unquote B-side on that album. That's how strong that album is. And again, my point is, I think that the artist is so huge, and we got to also remember Thriller is the album and the moment that made Michael as big as he became, to the point where nobody could even follow that. But I think the artist became so huge that we overlook how incredible the album itself is.
Go ahead, Super.
And not only that though, Mike. Not only that, Thriller this year probably sold more albums than some of these artists' best stuff that they got in their whole catalog right now. Like this year, probably outsold everybody's. It probably sold 30 million albums this year.
And it's not even on hype, man. It's on the music. Like you put on PYT right now. We had this whole conversation about if you play Public Enemy in the car with some young kids or whatever. Like, Ron, your kids, they listen to Michael Jackson. They weren't even alive when this man was alive.
I know.
What I mean? You put on PYT for anybody.
They start playing Michael Jackson. I put them on punishment. Let make them listen to Prince albums. Can I go?
They don't want to hear Prince, and I say that respectfully.
Can I go? Can I go? Can I go? Can I go? Can I cook for 1 second? Can I just
go ahead?
1 second. Mike, can you repeat what you just said a minute ago? The criteria that you said on every metric that Thriller is the best album of all time. You said something very interesting. What was one of your metrics that you used to say that Thriller was the best? Can you repeat them again one time?
My metrics, or are you talking about Ebro and them's metrics?
No, your metrics is you just stated that makes Thriller the best album of all time. Indisputable. There's a metric.
We talk about impact. We talk about quality of music. We talk about vocal performance. We talk about game changing, game shifting. And even if you want to throw in that criteria that people talk about with record sales, it sold more than everything, damn near double, really.
You said you didn't repeat it verbatim because you said
okay. Well, what did I say that I missed?
You said the music. You said track for track.
Yeah.
All right. Can I
let's go track for track. We can do that.
So let me just state my case. I'm gonna say
they're both 9 songs. I know where you're going. It's Purple Rain. We can go 9 songs.
Exhibit 1, Let's Go Crazy. Exhibit 1, it's 2.
All right, hold on. Time out. No, let's go song for song. You said Let's Go Crazy.
No, let's go through my list.
Let's go crazy.
Go through my list. Can I go through you?
No, but
can I go through my list? I'm just going through my list. Can I just go through my list and I'll be interrupted? Let's Go Crazy. Take Me With You. Exhibit 3, The Beautiful Ones. Exhibit 4, Computer Blue. Exhibit 5, Darling Nikki. When Doves Cry. Exhibit 6, I Would Die For You. Baby I'm a Star, and Purple Rain. If we talking music, man, and if we're talking music, let's do it. Go track for track. Let's go.
All right. Want to be starting something versus
Prince is a bad man.
I mean, me personally, I like Let's Go Crazy.
Come on, man.
Want to be starting something better than Let's Go Crazy.
It's way better than that.
I'm just saying what I personally like to my ears. I like Let's Go Crazy. Okay.
Take Me With You.
Let's Go Crazy.
Take Me With You, Baby. I'm gonna go with Take Me With You. That's what I'm gonna do.
I'm going Baby Be Mine.
I'm going Baby Be Mine too.
Yeah. Now, The Beautiful Ones versus The Girl Is Mine. That's The Beautiful Ones all day.
I agree.
And Darling Nikki versus Thriller. It's not a good matchup for Darling Nikki.
You skip Computer Blue. You skip Computer Blue.
I'm sorry. Computer Blue versus Thriller. Excuse me.
Yeah, we go. I'll
Thriller got you on that.
Hey, but Ron, Computer Blue or Baby Be Mine?
Nah, man.
You know Computer Blue ain't like that, man. Come on now.
This is close, man.
Okay,
These are close people.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Baby Be Mine. Okay, let's
Do
go.
you want to go Darling Nikki versus Beat It? Because that's not even fair to Darling Nikki either.
Man, I'm not a Beat It fan, my guy. So you know,
Man,
I like
Beat
Beat It's cool, but man, I like Darling Nikki is a better record than me. I mean, I'm just keeping it in the
But
buck.
see, again, when it comes to that matchup, even, and that's what I'm saying, it becomes very subjective. But if we're sitting here looking on a broad scape, nothing compares to Thriller.
Well, let's continue.
And we can do that for every album you put it up.
Let's not stop, Mike. Continue.
Okay. Doves Cry and Billie Jean. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, go Billie Jean. I go Billie Jean. I go Billie Jean.
Doves Cry is incredible. I think it could be argued that both of those could be these incredible artists' best records, to be honest.
It's close though, y'all. This is not a. This is close to me.
I love Prince too, man. I went to see Purple Rain and the Terminator at the drive-in. So like I said, I mean, Purple Rain I love Purple Rain too. But come on now, like don't do this to Prince.
Baby, look. What's the other one? I'm sorry. I Would Die for You and Human Nature. Come on, man. Let's not do this.
It's close, bro. It's close.
Human Nature, man. No,
I'm gonna go.
I Would Die for You, though.
I'm gonna go. I Would Die for You. That's me. That's me.
I Would Die for You is not better than Human Nature. It's not, man. It's
to
not.
My ears, my earphones, bro.
It's not, man.
Can I tie? Can I do it?
How many times that Human Nature's been flipped, and it's incredible every single time.
I mean, just the music, the beat wise is better too. I mean,
it's and the vocal
better,
performance, man. Come on, let's not discount Michael's vocal performance on Human Nature, man.
We not.
I'm not saying these records aren't dope. I'm not saying that. I ain't saying that.
So, all right, how would you even argue or begin to argue that I Would Die for You is better than Human Nature?
I like that.
Vocally or production wise, is the hook better or melody?
I would argue just the way, just the guitars. I mean, just the way it's arranged. I would say it was just better. To me, it sounded like a better record.
They're both performance albums.
Than Michael's songs on Prince's catalog. That's not one of them.
They're both performance albums, so it could be close. Thriller is crazy. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Thriller might beat it, but it's close. Some albums are close, bro. They're close. In '98, Lauryn Hill was kind of a big deal. Like it wasn't '88 no more.
She don't want to go track for track with this album.
Was
to go track for track with this
Let's
album.
finish it out. Let's finish it out. Let's not stop. Let's finish it out.
Yeah. Take Me With You and I'm not taking me with you. I would Baby I'm a Star and PYT. No.
PYT. Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on. Let's move on.
And Purple Rain beats Lady of My Life, not by a whole lot.
That's true.
Come on, man.
It's true. It's
Mike, you really gonna say that not by a whole lot, Purple Rain don't beat Lady in My Life?
That's a great record, man.
Let's be for real, Mike. I know you love Mike.
I mean, Purple Rain wins that
jacket on, but you telling me there's not by a whole bunch that Purple Rain beats Lady in My Life. You really gonna sit and tell this audience this?
I think that Purple Rain is definitely one of Prince's strongest records.
You said it's not by a lot that it beats. You just made a statement that says not beating Lady in My Life, not by a lot is close.
It's not as much as you think, but it beats it. I mean, I'm not even gonna argue that. The only ones that were definitive for Prince seemed like it was Purple Rain and The Beautiful Ones.
And that was only based on the matchup.
Yeah.
Right. But the first song too, though. We had Prince on the first song. I would
No, we didn't.
Let's Go Crazy.
They're very close to me. I Was Alive in both the eras. It's really close.
Can I address something that I wanted to talk about earlier?
Sure.
Go ahead, Super Duper.
The Common and Pete Rock, right? That song is fire. Like, and people in the chat was kind of they was trying to dog it out. Like it was a lot. I seen a lot of people. Some people it got mixed reviews, right? And I'm just wondering in my head, what song is better? That Lupe song or the Pete Rock song? People had their capes on for Lupe last week, but they downplaying this Common song, and I don't understand. Like I said, I don't understand how people can do that, man. The Common song was fire. The only thing that I wish from it, and I know a lot of us suffering from ADHD, I wish he had one more verse on there, or maybe they saved that space because they probably plan on dropping a remix. I would love to hear Black Thought and Common get down on that album together, though.
I agree. No, man. Wise Up is crazy. And again, to some of the points that we were making earlier to bring this thing forward, Wise Up shows you how you can update your sound and still have an aesthetic from an era that people are familiar with. Anybody who's a hip hop listener on any level, I feel like can hear that shit and be like, yo, this shit's hard. But
it's some people hate on everything. Some people, the usual everything.
I'm prepared for all the smoke from anybody that's gonna sit back and tell me that Lupe Samurai song is better than that Common. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
What about the hook though? What about the hook? I don't know which one is better. Just like I don't know which one is better with the other argument. But with the hook though, I think Lupe may have had a stronger hook.
No.
All right. But I think both songs are dope. Like I'm not looking at what is better. I think both is dope. You know what I mean? But
no, I mean I'm not even really like my point really ain't that one song is really better than the other, but it's just like how people try to downplay the Common song and kind of was hating on it. You seen a lot of that hate in the chat. People was hating on the Common and bigging up like
hate on everything. The same people that hated on Common are the same ones that hate on everything. So some people I just tune out. You know, they hate on everything.
You know,
man, we gotta go watch this game, man.
This Prince and Michael conversation will not end. It has to continue because, like I'm gonna do with Lupe and Common, I'm gonna take Mike to the deep end with Prince.
Don't do it, Mike. Don't do it, Ron. Don't do it, Ron.
I know too much, man.
Don't do it, Ron.
Listen, Ron. Coops up with that same fate in the matchup, man. It's not a smart thing to go up against me with Michael Jackson's catalog at my disposal.
We're gonna leave it to the people to decide. We're gonna let the audience hip hop. Let's just say, Michael and Prince they're so legendary. They got such vast catalogs. Let's do 30 for 30. 30 joints versus 30 joints.
Do you think you're gonna outlast me because Prince has such an extensive catalog? I'll take that on because I still will beat you. Like it doesn't matter, man.
Because you're a little nervous. You're a little nervous when I said I'm gonna do 25 versus 25 with Common and Kendrick. You got it kind of nervous. You said, why we gotta do 25?
I figured that was your game plan with Kendrick because 25 versus I already know Common's gonna be a tough competitor against with me having Kendrick's catalog anyway. So I do want a shorter matchup possibly, but
all right, how about this? Since Michael and Prince are so iconic, they're so legendary, let's go 40 for 40 with Michael and Prince.
Oh my God. Yeah, we bore people at this point.
How about that? How about that?
I'm still waiting on the UGK verse 8-Ball and MJG.
Oh, that's coming. That's coming. We gotta do that. We're gonna do that. Let's do that.
At least they're from the same era, though. Pick shit that's from the same era. The stuff that's from a different era, it's like the times change. And again, that doesn't mean the music is all factored in, but the way people consume music change too. That does factor in impact. Like the internet age.
Mike getting nervous. He taking the jacket off. I said 40 for 40. Mike, don't keep the jacket on.
I gotta go. Hey, Leroy, man. But what's your argument with the times changing, man? I think I kind of don't think. Listen, hold on. Let me finish what I'm gonna say. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair just because you know what we do. We all hip hop heads. We come on here. We rate new albums. We talk this hip hop stuff. So like, your argument is more for the kids than it is for like the true hip hop head. Like I said, I'm older, but I still can get into Future. I still like 21 Savage. I still like Roz Frisco and Daniel's son. I could still say if an album is fire or if it's not, or I could still judge this without putting my old man hat on. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's it's really not about the time era for me at all. It's really not. I'm still looking forward to the new generation to come out and top some of the best stuff that I thought I heard.
Me too. I think with the new generation, they have an uphill battle because when we're talking about dudes from the 80s and 90s, they were the first of their kind. So it's not like it was a 1,000 rappers that they had to battle with. You come out today or post 2012 with Kendrick got to be everywhere. It's the internet. It wasn't like the mid 90s or late 80s where you come out and it's not really too many rappers outside. Kendrick, it's 1,000 rappers outside. It's different.
Let's continue this conversation on Saturday on the Weekend Rhyme. This was a good show. Mike, close us out, brother.
All right, man. Everybody here, like and subscribe. We appreciate y'all rocking with us today on today's show, man. We had a lot to talk about for sure. About to go watch some basketball, man. Shout out to Ant-Man representing the ATL and taking everything to the top.
Ducking smoke, man. I said that 40. You got out of here when I said 40 songs.
I just know 40 songs is a lot of songs. It sounds good in theory. Okay. You're trying to elongate this thing so that you can give Prince any good chance to win, but I would still beat you at 40. I just don't want to. I mean, how long? You know how long it's going to take us to play 40 songs?
All right, 30. Okay.
Unless you want to do it in different parts and sections. That's why I'm like, hey, come on.
30. We'll see everybody Saturday.
Challenge, man.
Peace, brothers.
Peace, brothers.
Yes, sir.